It's going to be McFadden, number 22, out across the 25, the 30, the 40, and he gets some excellent field position to the 44-yard line. Andre Collins, a safety on the kickoff team, up to make the stop for Penn State. And McFadden will start today because Terry Allen, the other freshman, is hurt. He re-injured some ribs. Let's look at it again, and this is what concerned Paterno.
Reasons why Joel Paterno has worked his team so hard on the kicking game. McFadden comes through. He's got excellent speed. He gets great blocking in front. Instantly, without running the first offensive play of the game, the Clemson Tigers are close to midfield.
You can see why Paterno was very, very concerned. That's a 42-yard return to the 44. On first down, Rodney Williams to throw, and wide open. It's Jennings, Keith Jennings, 6'4", wide receiver, first down to the Penn State 31-yard line.
We set the stage. We told you that both these teams want to run the football. But what we didn't tell you early on was that just because they run the football doesn't mean they're not capable of throwing it. Against North Carolina State, this Clemson team was behind 30-0 at halftime. They came out through 46 passes, closed the gap. The score was 30-28. They still lost it, but they put together an excellent passing attack.
That's a 24-yard pickup. Sets it up at the 31 of the Nittany Lions. So Clemson throwing on the first play from the line of scrimmage. Rodney Williams this time will give off to McFadden. McFadden inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Pickup of 6. Brian Chismar, their strong safety, coming up to make the stop. Let's look now at these two ball clubs. The starting lineups for the game. Williams, the quarterback. He'll have Johnson, McFadden, Cooper, and Jennings. Jennings a moment ago catching that pass. Up front, they're led by John Phillips, the All-American at right guard. Nunnemacher is also an All-ACC pick. Second down, a long 3 to go for the Tigers. Receiver split wide left, wide right. McFadden, check that. Tracy Johnson, the fullback, slipping, going down, short of the first down. It'll bring up third down, still a yard to go. They will alternate the fullbacks, Tracy Johnson and Chris Lancaster. And I thought that Danny Ford said it very well. He said if we had 22 guys like those two guys, we'd be playing on Sunday.
Yeah, they're tough. They're hard-nosed. They run hard straight ahead. You see the defensive line there for Penn State. Pete Kirkendall is a man who made that stop. There are your linebackers. Penn State known for producing some of the best linebackers in college football. And their defensive secondary already tested, but they're good hitters.
Third down, a yard to go now for the Tigers. They give up to Johnson. Johnson's got the first down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Marcus Henderson over there to make the stop. And this is an impressive beginning for Danny Ford's team.
Very impressive beginning. And some great blocking up front by Chris Lancaster, number 49. But let me give you a stat on this young man, 42, Tracy Johnson. In all the years he's played college football, he has only been stopped 2 times in 3rd and 2 situations or less.
And one of the reasons, the other fullback, Lancaster, throwing the kind of blocks he threw on that play. First down, just inside the 15. Lancaster remains in as the lead back in the I formation. McFadden behind him. Clemson with the opening drive of the Florida Citrus Bowl. The Belly series, pitch back to McFadden, to the 10, to the 5, spins to the 2, first and goal. Run, and that is what Clemson is so good at, the option game.
The option game, speed to the outside. Danny Ford said he wanted to know how fast they are. He tests them very early with this quick pitch to the outside. Now watch this contact right here. Cooper's getting a good block downfield. By McFadden's getting a good block by Cooper downfield. Look at the helmet fly on Eddie Johnson, number 39.
That's some contact. That's the 3rd first down on this drive. First and goal now. They mark it at about the 3. In motion, that's Jennings. Pitch, fumble, picked up. McFadden in trouble. That's a big, big miscue. A loss back out to the 10. Trey Bauer, number 35, was there instantaneously. And that's the first time that the Clemson offense was not running very smoothly.
Not smoothly at all, but let me take this moment to explain why field position is so important. They start this drive at midfield. They get down. If they don't get a touchdown, it looks like it's an easy shot for a field goal. But if they didn't get the great field position early, this drive may have come short at the 50-yard line and out of field goal range and no chance for 3 points.
So now it comes to a 2nd and goal, operating for the 9-yard line. Jennings split to the near side. Cooper and Cooper flank to the top. McFadden, and now Johnson, the fullback. That's Johnson with the ball. He'll make 2, maybe 3 at the most, and it comes to a 3rd and goal, and they're still 7 yards away. Polamalu, number 99, the senior nose tackle out of Santa Ana, California, whose brother Kennedy played at the University of Southern California, made that stop. There's Johnson. Johnson's out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. And according to many of the people at Clemson, he might be one of the best all-around fullbacks in the country. 6 foot, a 230-pounder. 3rd and goal. Again, 3 wideouts. Again, Johnson, touchdown. Point after now, David Treadwell, the consensus All-American this year for Clemson. That was impressive. It all began when McFadden returned the kickoff to the 44. Clemson has to call for a timeout. They have a mix-up, and that's a costly timeout. Calling a timeout because evidently the alignment was not correct. So with 10:42 to go in this first quarter, the Tigers have taken the opening drive. They've scored. We'll be back with the Florida Citrus Bowl after this commercial break. Timeout. They have a new holder for this game, Greg Bailey. He's number 11, replacing Chris Morocco, who usually holds but injured some ribs in practice in Daytona Beach. The kick by Treadwell, as you would expect, is right down the middle. And the Tigers impressively lead it 7-0. And I guess if you look at that, the first pass, the opening play, seemingly set the trend for that first drive.
It sure did, because it had the defense off balance. They were expecting them to run, but they come out with a good pass, medium range downfield. Now take a look at this play as we watch number 42, Tracy Johnson, go through. This play is a great example of what they've done on this drive and what they've done all year. It's team play. He had great blocks up front by the All-American John Phillips, number 61, and number 78, Jeff Nunemacher. Take a look as they drive here. Double team on the nose guard. They pick up the linebacker. He reads it extremely well. That was number 63, Scott Gobb, that was blocked. And Tracy goes in virtually untouched.
That was his 7th touchdown of the year. They keep knockdown blocks at Clemson, a very interesting statistic. The guy that leads is John Phillips. With this guy, Johnson had 66 knockdown blocks. I guess you'd call them pancakes. A lot of people have different terminology for it.
Well, absolutely, but an offensive line coach, Indian coach, when he sees a player block and knocks that opponent right on his rear end, he knows it's going to take him at least 2 seconds to get up and get back in the action.
There's the drive. Remember, though, that first play, the 24-yard pass from Williams to Keith Jennings. That was the one that kind of set the whole trend. And now Rusty Sile, number 19, will be kicking off for the Tigers. 7-0 Clemson. Back deep, Gary Brown and Leroy Thompson. And it'll be Thompson, the freshman out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And he gets some good running room. He brings it out to the 35-yard line. You'll see a lot of Thompson, number 44, and Brown, due to the absence of Blair Thomas, who's to undergo arthroscopic surgery on Monday on that damaged knee. At the 35 now, the Nittany Lions get their first hands on the football.
Now, don't be surprised if this first drive for Penn State isn't a tactical drive, much like Danny Ford's, where they try a few things differently just to get the defense off balance. 2
wideouts, Alexander and Timpson. Gary Brown is the tailback. John Green, the fullback. The split backs this time behind Matt Kisner. Kisner far side, Alexander. Alexander maneuvering for maybe 4 yards. Good coverage that time. Flying up there was the secondary, and this secondary of Clemson has 2 of the finest cornerbacks in the country. But look at Penn State offensively. Kisner, he's the veteran. John Green, only 187 pounds, playing that fullback spot. There's Gary Brown. He's out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and he has big shoes to fill today. Up front, the big guy is Steve Wisniewski, a Sporting News All-American, a junior at that strong guard spot. Second down now, 6 yards to go. Timpson, who's a real burner, number 5 in motion. Pitch back to Brown. He's got a block, almost fumbled the ball. The ball looked like it was jarred loose. He was able to hang on, pick up a couple of yards. They're still 3 yards short of the first down as Tony Stevens, all 300 pounds of him, made the stop. Kisner this year has been hot and cold. I think, Glenn, if you look at his stats of almost 1,500 yards and 51% completion, that's good, but he's thrown 12 interceptions. There is Stevens, the guy who made the tackle. Brewster starting. He's a freshman. Hatcher, a junior college transfer, and Wolford is an All-American. 3rd down, 3. Movement defensively by the Tigers. That'll stop it. Flags in the air.
You were talking about Matt Kisner and his stats and so forth. He, to me, is a bit of a streak player. He gets hot sometimes, and he gets on the roll, and everything's great. Sometimes he gets cold, and he just stops short. Number 91 is Michael Dean Perry. You see him jump there off sides a little bit.
Movement on the blue offense.
He gets back Penn State, but the flag was thrown against Penn State because they moved.
It might have been a wideout that moved.
Are we ready?
Anyway, it goes against the Nittany Lions. We anticipated a first down for Penn State by penalty. Instead, they're backed up now to the 37-yard line. It'll be up 3rd down, still 8 yards to go. Paul Schmidt, the referee for today's Florida Citrus Bowl. Green in the backfield along with Brown. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Kisner back. Protection is excellent. And Brown can't make the connection. Thrown behind and almost hit Joe Paterno. Paterno had a disgusted look on his face, as that ball was not well thrown at all.
It was not well thrown. I don't know if he intentionally threw it behind him, because as I looked at the play, number 5, James Lott, had a pretty good angle, was drifting to that side. If that had been a perfectly thrown ball where he leads him forward to make the catch, Lott was in a perfect position to pick it off and run with it.
Chris Klaus, number 96, will punt the football. Wolford goes back. He was first in the ACC in punt returns. There's the snap a little bit high. Beautiful punt. Klaus hits it hard. Wolford going back inside, and it's going to make it into the end zone for the touchback. That's a 62-yard punt by Chris Klaus. So from the 20, the Tigers lead it 7-0 with 8:58 to go in the first quarter. Gary Bender, Lynn Swan, Steve Alvarez, New Year's Day, the Florida Citrus Bowl. Clemson with a 7-0 lead. They have the ball for the second time from the 20-yard line. Williams, who flew through on the first play the last time. Let's see what he does this time. Pitches back. This is Terry Allen, who's now in a tailback, and he'll advance it for 4 to the 24. Allen led the ACC in rushing this year, the second freshman ever to accomplish that feat. But he re-injured some ribs that kept him out of the South Carolina game, so he didn't start today, and Wesley McFadden in his stead. But they have 3 outstanding tailbacks.
And if you just look back at that first drive, Wesley McFadden takes a kickoff, does a great job. He takes a couple of runs, he gets downfield, and he is the backup tailback.
2nd down, 6 from the 24. Williams wants to throw, and it's broken up, but still caught by Gary Cooper. Cooper took the deflection, advances it a yard short of the first down. That was Keith Karpinski, number 84, the linebacker, who got a hand on it. Good reaction, though, by Gary Cooper.
Quick screen. You take the ball back 1 step and you fire to the sideline. The offensive line has to fire out and cut those people coming across to keep their hands down. They're big people, and they're usually going to get in the face of the quarterback if you don't cut them. Here, he just gets upfield, does a great job, Keith Karpinski, and tips the ball away. Well, an even better job by Gary Cooper staying with it.
Their new leading man, Gary Cooper. 3rd down and 2. Williams trying to get it on the option. It looks like he did. He just got across the 30-yard line. Rodney Williams, a junior out of Columbia, South Carolina. If he would win today, it would be 22 wins as the starting quarterback, and that would tie him with Homer Jordan, who, of course, directed Clemson to the national championship.
He's had a very successful career at Clemson, but Penn State would prefer he handle the football on the option and try and make him run. He is not a great running back. He is not going to do anything like Jamel Holloway and turn him for 80 yards and a big touchdown. But if you let him have too much room, he'll get 13, 14 yards a pop.
Well, he's got some size. They list him at 6'2", 205. First down across the 30. 2 wideouts, split to the top and the bottom. Pitch comes back to Allen. Allen across the 35 to the 40. A flag on the play. He's a yard short of the first down, but a flag was thrown back at the 30-yard line. Marcus Henderson, who is one of the defensive co-captains for Penn State, over to make the stop, and let's see what this discussion is all about.
I don't know what it's for, but number 49, Chris Lancaster, the fullback, came in and got another one of those knockdowns you were talking about on the block.
The previous spot. Another 5 yards. The legal use of hands against the offense. It'll be first down.
And so momentarily that will stymie the Tigers' drive.
It stymies the drive, but take a look at number 49. You see 21, Terry Allen getting the block, but look at that block right there. Number 49 lays on him.
Who's holding whom on that play?
I don't know. That's Brian Chismar, number 28. And I wonder if he's got those pads in his rear end.
I don't know who you call holding on. Looked to me like both of them are pretty well tangled up on that play. Anyway, it's going to bring up a 1st and 15 after the penalty, back to the 25. Jennings, Cooper are split to the top of the field. Cooper to the bottom of the screen. Running backs, Lancaster and Allen. Williams in trouble, and he's buried. Trey Bauer, number 35, and he is some football player. An all-East performer, 3rd-team All-American. He's been hurt a lot this year. Joe says when he got healthy, he got back into the groove, and he's the leader, and really having to lead with Giftopoulos out in the middle linebacking spot.
He is also the co-captain. He is a solid ball player from Paramus, New Jersey. He looked like that time he just flowed, saw that the quarterback was going to keep the ball and pass, and just shot in from his linebacker position as if he were on a delayed blitz. He
had 12 tackles a year ago in that national championship game against Miami. Number 4 tackler all time at Penn State. Williams scrambling around on a 3rd down, and the pass completed to the near side. That's Dan Pearman. He'll be short of the 1st down. Be 2 yards short of the 1st down, and there's Pearman, the guy that Steve Alvarez talked to, the walk-on. After 3 years, he was put on scholarship.
Well, you see right now he's getting excellent protection. Rodney Williams moving around, throws a good pass here to Pearman. And that doesn't look like a pass and catch of a team that doesn't know how to throw the football.
Isn't that something?
So it just highlights the fact that when they run the football, it's by choice. They do have a solid passing game.
They are 3 on 3 on 3rd down. And here's a 3rd down and a long 2. Back to throw, Williams. The setting up the screen, completes it to McFadden, and McFadden will not get up the field far enough. And so Clemson is stymied and stopped for the 1st time. Didn't fool anybody on that play. They had the blue shirts deployed very well on the play. And Sile will come in now to punt for the Tigers. There's Williams.
There he is. When you have a group of linebackers, as Penn State does, with a very well-trained, disciplined, and smart ball players, it is tough to run the screen against them. They read well, they flow well, get to the ball. There were 3 blue jerseys ready to make the tackle.
Jim Coates and Michael Timpson back. This man, Sile, a junior out of Savannah, Georgia, will punt. Gets it very high. Timpson, Coates both called for the fair catch, and Coates makes it at the 32-yard line. 35-yard punt that time. So Penn State will have much better field position, trailing 7-0. The Tigers 5:15 to go in the 1st quarter. Penn State winning the battle in the last exchange of punts. A 62-yarder to a 35-yarder. Penn State now from the 32, and a flag is thrown before the snap.
I think someone in the offensive line moved. They set their hands down. Once they set the hand down in 3-point stand, they can't move. It's the only thing I can imagine it would be at this moment.
You see James Earl, number 9, indicating it's illegal procedure against Penn State, and so that would be a 5-yard step off. The thing about Penn State this year that's really not characteristic of Joe Paterno is they've made a lot of mistakes this year.
Procedure against the offense. The down lineman moves.
Okay, here's a wide shot. Now watch them. They're getting set. Hands are down. Now they put the hands down in front. 3-point stand. All right. Somewhere along the way, one of the guys picks up his hand and moves. And there's the flag.
But this year, Penn State was a -5 in the giveaway takeaway department. That's the worst of any Division 1A team that had 8 victories. And Joe Paterno prides himself on being a team that doesn't make mistakes. They're going to throw. This is going to be Darren Roberts, a quarterback, and he completes it to Timpson. Darren Roberts coming in on the halfback option. Throws, completes it to Michael Timpson. And there's what Danny Ford said. He says, we'll have a couple of trick plays, and there's one of them early in the game.
Well, Danny Ford said a couple of trick plays. He thought maybe there might have been trick plays he'd use, but instead it's Penn State. They come back. Michael Timpson is a player. They wanted to get into the ball game early. It's number 1, Darren Roberts, who comes into the ball game to throw this pass. It is deep downfield on the sideline, and the receiver, Michael Timpson, just burst away from number 20, Donnell Wolford.
That's a 46-yard gain, and Kisner now gives off straight ahead to the 20-yard line and pick up a 5, maybe 6 yards. Well, Darren Roberts hasn't played all that much. He's listed as the third-string quarterback. They brought him in. He completed it to Timpson, who's the fastest player. In fact, he's a world-class sprinter.
He holds record for Penn State in the 110 high hurdles, the 200-meter sprints, 60-yard dashes indoors and outdoors. But the coaches describe him as a track man who is out playing football. His goals are the Olympics. He wants to try and make that. After that, then he'll probably concentrate more on football.
By the way, that was Darren Roberts' first pass of the year. It's not too bad, huh?
Not at all.
Timpson in motion. Kisner rolling. He is buried. Gets it off to Alexander, and he made the grab. No, they're saying he trapped the ball at the 6-yard line.
There was an official who was right behind the receiver who had no way of seeing whether he made the catch or not. He didn't signal. The man who made the call was the official in the middle of the field who had the angle. Take a look at this play as Michael Alexander comes back on the comeback. The ball comes in, it goes down, running against number 5, James Lott. You see right here from this angle, we'll see if he traps it or catches it. Goes in, looks like he trapped it.
I was almost ready to say caught it. You really think he did, huh?
It went right through his hands. He was catching with his body. The ball couldn't have been... His hands weren't under the ball, so it had to touch the ground.
Well, you're a wide receiver. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Timeout now called by Penn State. Kisner with a 3rd and 4 coming out. Asked for the Nittany Lions initial timeout. So with 4:04 to go in this first quarter, Penn State trailing 7-0, but right now they're coming close to the Clemson goal line. Well, I guess when you coach for 22 years, you can pull a surprise once or two. You're entitled to that. Earlier, the long pass by Roberts, but we're going to go back on the play that followed. This is to Alexander, and there's some debate as to whether he trapped it or caught it.
Look at his hands. His hands are not together. That ball goes right between them. If his hands are together and underneath the football, an official would give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's a catch.
Well, I think the amazing thing is Darren Roberts coming in out of Somerset, New Jersey. Had taken 1 snap prior to the game today. He'd never thrown the football. He comes in and completes that 46-yard pass to Timpson. You never know what that cagey guy's going to do by the name of Paterno.
Well, Joe knows he's not going to be in this ball game if he lets it get too far out in front of him.
3rd down 4 now. The Nittany Lions after calling the timeout. Number 5 is Timpson in motion. Kisner back. Protection is outstanding. The throw, the catch is made. That is Timpson, who came from the near side to the far side of the field. 1st and goal for Penn State.
When I talked to Fran Ganner, the offensive coordinator for Penn State, he said one of our goals today is to get Michael Timpson more involved in our game plan. The quick screens, throwing him passes across the field. Ray Roundtree, number 6, we told you was injured. He turned in a great performance with about a 60-yard catch on something coming across the field just like this. They believe with Michael Timpson's speed, he might be the key to a big play.
That was a fine catch. That was not an easy one.
No, it wasn't.
1st and goal now from the 7-yard line. Alexander Timpson near side. That's Timpson in motion. 7-0 Clemson. Kisner giving off to Gary Brown. He's straightened up, spins to the 5. It'll be 2nd and goal from there. Gary Brown is 5'10", 190. They think he's very clever, has good vision, a cutback type runner, and pressed into the starting role when Blair Thomas hurt the knee. So to bring up 2nd and goal now from the 5. The officials momentarily calling the timeout. They're ready to go now. Here is Ford, 39 years of age. Has a man coming out of the ball game. Looks like Vince Taylor may have been shaken up. They're getting him out of there. Coming up next, the second half of our doubleheader from New Orleans, USF&G Sugar Bowl, unbeaten Syracuse. If they'd win today, they would finish 12-0 and would be the first team ever to go 12-0 and not win a national championship. The Tigers, on the other hand, they're averaging over 27 points a game. From the 5, 2nd and goal. Borowski's coming at fullback, number 34. Gary Brown behind him. Here's Brown again. Inside the 5. He'll make it to the 3, and he pays for it there. Good reaction by that Clemson defense. Boy, they can run up front. It was Gene Beasley, though, the strong safety, the junior out of Atlanta, who really put the hit on him. And it's 3rd and goal now from the 3.
We'll see the play from the end zone. You'll see why Clemson is number 2 in the country against the run, only allowing 80 yards a game. They just come up. Gene Beasley, number 27, making the stop.
3rd and goal from the 3. Borowski and Green and Brown, the 3 backs. Kisner, a reverse fumbles, and Clemson has it. Tony Stevens.
Number 27, who takes a handoff, tries to give it back to number 20, John Green, but they miss on the handoff. Tony Stevens, the nose tackle, all 300 pounds of him, is in that backfield. You see him right there coming through.
Did he trip over Kisner? He almost looked like he tripped on him, didn't he?
Well, he tripped on him. He tripped on Gary Brown trying to get to that football.
Anyway, Brown had the wrong angle, couldn't reach out to get it to Green. Major turnover, and it sets it up at the 9 now for Clemson, and that's what we've talked about. Penn State has had the mistakes all year long that's really hurt them. 7-0, the Tigers, 2:04 to go in the first quarter, and they're going to stop this one. That was Tracy Johnson, the fullback, but again, the stoppage as we have some infraction down below. It's going to be illegal procedure. No, delay a game against Clemson.
25-second clock ran out. They've been coming close to it, Gary, and a couple of other plays. And they looked up and saw it was down to 0. They just didn't get it off in time.
And so the penalty will mark it inside the 5. Substitution Chip Davis now coming into the ball game. Another tight end, James Coley, 88.
First down.
In the game of football, the quid pro quo, this for that. If they can stop Clemson without getting it from getting a score, then that turnover is not that big a deal.
Williams giving up, trying to find running room as Johnson, and there's not any he had. He picked up maybe a yard, got outside the 5 to the 6-yard line. But it's going to bring up 2nd down, still about 13 yards to go. Quintus McDonald, who's come back from some arthroscopic surgery, number 92. 4 weeks ago, he had arthroscopic surgery done on his knee. He's back and playing. Rodney Williams, he was the most valuable player in the Gator Bowl a year ago, hitting 12 of 19 passes for 135 yards. Second down, 13. Big fullback, this time is Johnson, and Johnson's got the first down. Big hole off the right-hand side. He was able to capitalize on that, bring it out to the 22, and there was some blocking on that play. The offensive line of scrimmage was controlled by Clemson.
You're running the option, you've got the outside speed. To stop it, sometimes you have to overshift to the outside. Look at the 2 defenders for Penn State, 79, running right upfield, just leaving a big gaping hole. Then you get the great block from number 70, Frank DeLulis, who just walled off the inside for Johnson.
First down now to the 21. Pass near side, Keith Jennings. It was Jennings who caught that pass earlier that started Clemson in the right direction, and he makes the grab. He's about a yard short of the first down, out to the 30.5-yard line. Well, the Clemson Tigers have been tough in Death Valley. They're on the road here today and playing very well. Under Danny Ford, they are 3-2 in bowl games, including, of course, that national championship game where they defeated Nebraska and won last year. Second down, a short yard to go. Coming into the last minute of this first quarter, 7-0 Clemson. Here's Williams on the option, back to throw, over the middle, and we have some people getting tangled up. There'll be no flag. Cooper, the intended receiver, and defending on the play over there, Gary Wilkerson. Let's look at this again there. I guess they figured neither guy could get to the football.
Well, he's going across the pattern on what looks like a short post pattern. Right here, number 39, Eddie Johnson, is making a play for the ball. He's got position. It's up to the receiver then to go around him. That was not intentional contact, and I call it incidental contact because Eddie was going for the ball.
That's the first incomplete pass thrown by Williams. He's now 5 of 6 for 49. So they have a third, still a short yard, and some real mix-ups in the middle there. Looked like the line left before the snap. While we wait on the determination on this penalty, let's go back down to Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. I think the Clemson Tigers surprised everyone, not just Penn State, when they came out throwing the ball continuously from the opening kickoff. I talked to Rodney Williams a minute ago. I said, you guys know when you came on the field you're going to be throwing as much? He said, yeah, we had planned on it because we knew Penn State would be looking for the run, as everyone had expected. So they're going to come out and fire the thing and see how they do. In that first series, they did quite well, and they're moving the ball again. So Clemson came in here with something a little bit different. Gary?
So the penalty very costly. It was third and less than a yard. Now it's third down, almost 6 yards to go. Clemson now operating just outside the 25-yard line. Williams pass to Jennings. He's got it. Jennings across the 35 has the first down to the 36. Gary Wilkerson making the stop. Keith Jennings is the biggest wide receiver they've ever had at Clemson, and he is a brother of Stanford Jennings, who plays with the Cincinnati Bengals, who played at Furman University.
And he is an excellent blocking wide receiver, as you would have to be with the Clemson option offense. He does a great job. The cornerbacks have been giving him room, not letting him get away to run something deep behind him, and that's a block in itself.
He now has 3 catches, he being Jennings, for 44 yards. Just across the 35, first down. Clemson, 26 seconds to go in the first quarter. Pitch comes back. McFadden stays on his feet to the 40-yard line, picks up 4. It'll bring up a second down 6. Doesn't seem to matter who's at that tailback spot. They just keep coming at you.
Well, they're getting such great blocking out in front. That time, it didn't look like there was a whole lot there. The cornerback came too far up the field, and he was blocked upfield. So there was just a little alley. What McFadden did well was he stayed close to that wall of blockers right in front of him, actually scraped off them with his left shoulder until he got to the outside to pick up a few more yards.
They're running right a lot. Theulius, number 70, and John Phillips, the All-American, number 61, doing the job. Second down now. 4 yards to go from the 41. Johnson, the fullback. And that offensive line right now is being controlled by Clemson, and that's what Danny Ford thought would be one of the big keys to the game. And they're blowing people out of there. Another first down, just short of the midfield stripe. The entire second team defensive backfield is in there right now for Penn State. Downing, Collins, Range, and also Willie Thomas. As we come to the end of this first quarter, very pleasant day here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. First meeting between these two clubs. And after 15 minutes, it's the Tigers 7, the Lions nothing. The Florida Citrus Bowl return after this commercial break. Florida Citrus Bowl, we begin the second quarter of play on a first down. Tracy Johnson hitting straight up the field. Quintus McDonald, number 92, making the stop for Penn State. Line of scrimmage now the 45. Second down, long yardage, 2nd and 15. Remember now, this drive starting from the 9-yard line after the fumble recovery by Tony Stevens. Penn State looked like they had a chance to tie it up. They lost possession of the ball, and Clemson now continuing up the field. Terry Allen now is checked in at tailback. That's Allen in motion. Williams back to throw up the middle. James Coley, number 88, the tight end, had a hand on it at the 30-yard line.
A very well thrown football on that particular play. Penn State only rushed 3 people. They had all 8 of the rest of the defensive unit dropping back in the pass coverage. That was a tough scene to throw a pass into, but he had it right where it's supposed to be. Coley's got to go up. It's a tough catch, tough way to catch the ball, but he has to make those.
Out of Jacksonville, he was a leading receiver at tight end. He had 7 catches, did not catch a pass in his first 2 seasons. 22 games at Clemson. That time could not make the connection. Third down, 15 yards to go. Williams back, scrambling around, has time. And this is Jennings again. The ball is loose. It's going to be ruled incomplete.
Incomplete?
That's what they're waving on the near side. I thought he had it when he came down and then had it jarred loose.
Well, his back was to us, so we couldn't see if he had control over the night. Looks like he had the ball and came down. He hit the ground and the ball came loose. I was about to say, well, the ground can't cause a fumble. Once he hit the ground, he's down. We'll take another look from our end zone camera. Excellent pass under obvious circumstances. There's a catch. He's down. He's hit.
How can that not be a catch?
That's a catch. I don't see how that can't be a catch.
Jennings having a big afternoon. He'd already caught 3 for 44 previous to that one. Here is Sile now on the punt. Hits it low. Coming up is Timpson to the 20-yard line. To the 25, 30. Look out, this guy's the fastest player on the field. And he's dropped at the 45.
He is also a hurdler, as you saw right there.
And you know who made the tackle? The punter. Rusty Sile saved what might have been a touchdown.
If he doesn't make that stop, or if he gets too low trying to make that tackle, Simpson is going all the way. You can see why Joe Paterno wanted to get him the football. He almost loses it here. Yes, the ball slips out, maintains control, but watch this move down the sideline. He's seeing a touchdown. He's going to hurdle, but the punter, Rusty Sile, just doesn't go down low enough, stays up high enough to stop him.
Timpson with that outstanding speed, a 36-yard return. Kisner on first down, going deep. Alexander down there, incomplete. Defending on the play was Richard Smith, number 28, the junior out of Sparta, Georgia, the same school that produced Horace Grant, who now, of course, is playing with the Chicago Bulls. But Kisner trying to get it all right here.
Both of these receivers doing very well against the cornerbacks. He goes here at number 9, runs down the field, and he goes up in the air against Richard Smith. And right there, I almost thought they might have called pass interference on him, but he was going after the football.
So that brings up second down 10 for the 44. All of this set up on that 36-yard punt return. Jim Coates, number 49, goes in motion. Borowski, the fullback, pitch back now to Leroy Thompson, who's come in, the other freshman. And he may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Good reaction that time by Clemson. Well, they're getting good support from Beasley coming up that strong safety spot. He had 8 tackles for loss this year. That's the most ever by Clemson defensive back.
The secondary is doing a good job. Earlier in the season, when Penn State played Pitt, Pitt came up with 9 people in the front line and said, okay, we dare you to throw the football. And the cornerbacks did a great job on the receivers. Paterno says he doesn't want to be in a situation where he is forced to pass and can't get the job done.
Third down 10 now for the Nittany Lions. Kisner, near side, Coates, the intended receiver, and it's picked up. The All-American, Donnell Wolford, but there's a penalty flag. Let's check it out. Wolford showing why he was an All-American. Boy, what an outstanding athletic move by number 20 out of Fayetteville, North Carolina.
You very seldom see a wide receiver make as good a catch, but the flag was thrown at the line of scrimmage, and the Penn State players are pointing to the Clemson side of the field saying it's against the Tigers.
Oh, is that a costly penalty?
We'll take a look at it. Jim Coates, the walk-on player that Steve Alvarez talked about earlier in the ball game, running down the field, but Wolford right there. Look at the leap. Look at the stretch. One-handed and the catch for an interception, but it will be called back because of an infraction.
Coates is only 5'7½", and he just had no chance to get up on that play with Wolford. They think Wolford will be the finest defensive back they've ever had, and that's even talking in terms of a Terry Kennard, who was such a great player on that championship team. So the penalty sets it up in Penn State's possession. Now 3rd and 5. Alexander has his man beaten, and Alexander scoring. Touchdown. He got behind James Lott. Running game that we were going to talk about today. Both these teams have come out throwing. And that one going 39 yards after getting the ball back on the penalty. Point after attempt by Eric Eats. And he's down the middle, and he's tied it up. 7 apiece at the 12:51 mark of the second quarter.
It is a passing game that has become the deadly weapon in this ball game thus far. Number 9, Michael Alexander, goes against James Lott. James Lott is 5'9". Alexander is 6'2", and it's good for 6 points in a tie ball game.
Ben Wolford's interception nullified for the offside, and then the next play, Kisner connecting with Alexander to tie it up.
They go against James Lott. They said they were going to test him all day.
Ray Taurasi kicking off now for Penn State. Bouncing around, having trouble picking it up is McFadden. McFadden will bring it out to the 10, 15, 20. And he gets it out to the 24 after a near disastrous start. Dwayne Downing coming up to make the stop for Penn State.
Now this is what the look that Pitt gave Penn State earlier in the year. 9 players right here on the line of scrimmage. It's man-to-man here, man-to-man there. He just beats him to the outside on the quick move and gets the touchdown. This is what they said they didn't want to have happen and not be prepared for. They had to prepare the next week against Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't try it, but they talked to pro coaches and said, what do we do? What's the best attack against a team that puts 9 people on the line of scrimmage? And now you see what they've learned.
Simpson and Alexander having a big first half for Penn State at the wide receiver spots. First down now, 12:42 to go in this first half. We're all even at 7 in the Florida Citrus Bowl. Fullback this time is Lancaster. Lancaster, 225-pound junior. There's that last drive. Kisner, 39-yard pass to Alexander.
You see only 3 plays, time 59 seconds, but they only had to go 44 yards. Again, we keep talking about field position, but both coaches feel it is so important to their game, their kicking game, and how it performs this afternoon.
A couple of costly turnovers in this game. Penn State left the ball at the 9, and then Wolford's interception nullifies. 7-7 our score. Second down, 7 yards to go. Little mix-up looked like there for a moment, and coming out of it is Terry Allen to the 40, and a flag has been thrown. It looked like Williams and the backs collided back there. There was some problems. They weren't on the same page. I think it was Williams and Lancaster, the fullback.
Delay of game.
Delay of game. That's twice now. The Tigers have had a delay of game.
In this stadium, behind the Clemson offensive unit, the shot, the 25-second clock is off to a corner, so it's not directly in the quarterback's eyesight. Now, I'm looking for the 25-second clock as Clemson faces downfield. I can't see it from here. It's not under the scoreboard. It must be off to a side, so a quarterback, when he looks downfield, he will not be able to see that easily.
And the multicolored people in the stands, all that orange and the navy blue, I don't see it either. It must be on this side. So now it's second down and 11 after the penalty. Williams rolls right, drops, throws, and that catch is made, and that's some catch by Gary Cooper. Cooper out of Pennsylvania. He is considered the pride of the Tigers. He had an average of 18.7 per catch, and that's the best since 1950 for Danny Ford and for the Clemson Tigers.
Gary Cooper went to Ambridge High School, but he was born in Swickley, which is where Chuck Knox, the coach for the Seattle Seahawks, was born, and also where I live.
Boy, you know those guys around Pittsburgh, don't you?
Well, you got to keep track of them.
That's a first down. They had a second and 11 and got enough for the first down. Williams pitching back. Terry Allen, and Allen is going to lose yardage. That's Matt Johnson, 51. Outstanding student at Penn State. A National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame scholar. There he is. He has a 3.26 grade point average out of York, Pennsylvania. He's in the master's program right now, a 5th-year senior.
Watch number 51 as he pursues this play. You see number 21, Terry Allen, trying to get to the outside. The defensive line did a good job of cutting off the inside, blocking the outside, stringing it out so Johnson could make the stop.
Loss of 4, second down, 14. Williams, play action fake. Throwing again, it's Jennings, and Jennings is having some day. Trying to drag him down is Johnson, and he won't go down. First down to the 34.
These are my kind of wide receivers, Gary. They're my kind of wide receivers. They're receivers in a running program. What does that mean? That means they don't usually get a lot of opportunities to catch a football. When they do, they're going to make the most of it. They're going to catch a football, and they're going to drive. He doesn't look like a wide receiver here. He's running like a tight end. He knows if he stops throwing the football, all of his glory is gone by the wayside.
He had 24 catches coming in here. He already has 4 today for 75. He's 6'4", 225. Johnson, 5'10", 164, just couldn't get him down. Williams trying to get it all. He overthrows Cooper at about the 4-yard line. He was well covered that time. Sherrod Range, number 36, was back there.
Sherrod Range covering defensive.
We'll take another look at Gary Cooper as he comes off the line of scrimmage. They're trying to take advantage of a passing attack right there. Gary Cooper, as he just runs down the sideline. He looked like he got pushed a bit in the back there on the break.
No flag, no penalty. Brings up second down, 10. 7 all. 10:04 to go, first down. Williams on the option, pitches back down, and he stays inbound across the 20, inside the 15 to the 14. Boy, that is the option at its best.
At its absolute best. You read down the line of scrimmage, you draw people up. Now watch Rodney Williams as he makes his play. He waits until the last minute. You see a man coming from the left. He has drawn up the man who is responsible for the pitch man. Once he does that, Terry Allen, number 21, is clear. It's a last-minute pitch, and it picks up the first down.
22-yard gain to the 12. Allen, who had a high of 183 yards in a game earlier this year. The Tigers, right now, very impressive. Williams gives off to Johnson. The big fullback spins to the 5. Let's go down to Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. Warming up behind me, David Treadwell, the kicker for the Clemson Tigers. We talked about walk-ons. He, too, came to the Clemson football program as a walk-on, and he has become an All-American kicker. It must be all in the technique, Gary, because I'm telling you, the kid's got legs skinnier than yours.
Hey, wait. Oh, that's a nice compliment. I thought you would have said something else.
Well, Gary, you know it doesn't take leg power in golf, your favorite sport. It just takes technique, and you have neither one of them.
Right now, Marcus Henderson is down and shaken up on the play. You know, the Treadwell story is so interesting. He was a soccer kicker in high school, and he wanted me to be sure and say hello to the Clemson soccer team. A lot of the players coming out of the St. Louis area, they won the NCAA championship this year.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and Treadwell said, I wish I'd been able to play there, too.
He is a clutch player.
He has done it all the way down the stretch. 8 times inside the last 8 minutes. He's hit all of them. Tomorrow, something that's synonymous with ABC Sports. The Professional Bowlers Tour, Olympics and bowling.
And bowling. And I also think of the Harlem Globetrotters. I tell you, I played against the Harlem Globetrotters.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when they were in Hong Kong and went to China, we did the show, and I actually got out in the court with them. Played against them for a while, popped in a couple of baskets, and made me a Globetrotter for a moment.
For a moment. There's a give, and this is Johnson. That's his second touchdown of the game. Tracy Johnson, who scored back in the first quarter, goes 6 yards for his second touchdown of the day, and Treadwell makes it a 14-7 game in favor of the Tigers. So Clemson, after being burned by that touchdown pass, came right back, and they have recaptured the lead.
So Tracy Johnson, the workhorse up the middle, took what could have been a very bad memory and scored the touchdown.
We have 9:14 to go in this first half. We've had a lot of football and a lot left to go. Clemson kicking off. They have the lead 14-7. Leroy Thompson will bring it out for the Nittany Lions. He gets to about the 18-yard line, and that's all. Let's go back to the touchdown by Tracy Johnson.
One more look at Johnson. He almost fumbles his football going into the end zone because he was so excited trying to get to do his little touchdown dance. Give him a couple of points for gaining respectability. Give him no points and losing all his dance partners for the rest of his life.
The old tiger rag, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Next dance he goes to, there's another girl in the room that's going to want to dance with him.
Boy, I tell you what, you are some dancer, Mr. Swan. You are the rage of Orlando. From the 18-yard line now, Penn State has only 8 yards rushing. They've done all their damage to the airway. Kisner giving off to Brown, and Brown got 2, and that's all to the 20-yard line. That last drive is impressive because Clemson had to be a little stunned by that touchdown pass, and they marched that with 76 yards in 8 plays.
But it's probably better it happened to them in the first half of this ball game rather than late in this game. They have been moving well and just made the mistakes in the areas in the that cost them a drive and cost them field position and points.
Second and out from the 20. Johnson scoring 2 touchdowns in this game. The last touchdowns he scored was way back against North Carolina State. Pitch comes back to Brown. Brown stays in bounds, gets some additional yardage across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Gary Brown had an 80-yard run earlier this year against Syracuse. He had averaged 6.5 yards per carry, but obviously not playing that much because of Blair Thomas.
He only carried the ball 4 times in that ball game, ended up with 94 total yards. Now, I asked the coach, I said, with Blair Thomas out, is Gary Brown the kind of football player that could become a Blair Thomas? Could we see him have a great performance here? Well, they said because he's a true freshman, doesn't have that much experience, they're not going to put that pressure on him. But athletically, he could have a big game.
3rd down, a yard to go. High formation. In motion now goes Green. Pitch comes to Brown. Brown trying to get wide, and he's not going to get the first down. Dorian Mariable, number 56, who has been the top tackler for Clemson in the last half of the season, stopped that one. And so on a 3rd and 1, they lose a yard. So Penn State will have to punt. Klaus will come in. This is an area now that makes Paterno very nervous because of the punt return ability. As we mentioned, Wolford and Lott all year long have been so excellent in that department. 1-2 in the ACC. This time it's Lott that's back. Not an exceptionally good punt. Lott's got it at the 40. He slips and goes down at the 41. So the Tigers, who led early 7-0, had it tied up at 7 apiece. Now with a 14-7 lead, 7:46 to go in the first half. His team trailing 14-7. That last punt was only 35 yards. A 3-yard return by James Lott. Clemson from the 41. Quick handoff to Johnson. Johnson gets a yard. Let's go to Steve Alvarez.
Thank you. I am with one of the Perrys. This is Freddie Perry, and you were laughing because everybody walking around thinks you're the fridge out.
They think I'm the fridge, but I'm not. I'm Freddie Perry.
You are the brother. You're an older brother of William and Michael Dean.
That's right.
Now, you got your whole family out here, don't you? About 12 of them?
Yes, sir. I showed up.
Are you guys making a run to the concession stand?
At halftime, we're going to make a break for it, I guarantee you.
Hey, what is it like with your family to have 2 brothers now? You got a younger brother following in his older brother's footsteps, getting as much publicity, getting as much recognition?
I mean, it's just remarkable. And the things that Michael Dean has done, he has set an example for himself. And he's truly a great player, too.
Did you play football?
Yes, I played semi-pro.
You look like you could play football.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thanks for talking to us.
You're welcome.
Fred Perry, not William Perry. People think he's a fridge. He is not. He's just a small microwave or something. I don't know. Back up to you, Gary.
I'll tell you, if you got called away from the dinner table, you were in trouble in that family. The last play smothered very nicely that time by Andre Collins, the sophomore safety. Brings up a 3rd down 10 for the Tigers. Motion comes Allen. Williams throwing far side. Complete to Cooper. Cooper has a first down to the 45 of Penn State. So on 3rd down 10, Clemson continues to be very effective on 3rd down. That was a 14-yard pickup.
Didn't this football game start at high noon for Gary Cooper? He makes a great move here. He catches the ball. Now watch the cornerback from Penn State over pursue. That was number 28, Brian Chismar. He just took the bad angle, kept going too far, couldn't stop himself as he stepped inside until Kopinski came over and make the hit.
First down, just short of the 45. Williams back again, and he's trying to hit Coley again. That's twice he's trying to connect up the seam to his tight end, and both times they have been very close, but nothing doing.
That pass was thrown right inside the hash mark. When Williams was standing, you see Taylor being helped off the field. Williams was standing just a yard or 2 inside that same hash mark, further backfield. No angle to throw the football, real tough.
That was Vince Taylor, the sophomore linebacker, who was hobbled on the near sideline. 2nd down 10. Williams putting the ball in the air. On the option this time, he'll keep it. And he's going to get a first down. Good second effort. There is a penalty flag, however, at the 42-yard line.
Number 4, Dwayne Downing, a cornerback, is indicating holding against the Clemson Tigers.
There's Williams. He was a parade All-American. He was coming out of high school out of Columbia, South Carolina, considered to be the number 3 quarterback in the country. He's come to Clemson running this option. He's had some brilliant moments, as we said last year, the most valuable player in the Gator Bowl.
Have a 10-yard holding against the offense.
That'll bring it back. The hold against the Tigers. and that'll move it all inside the 45-yard line. And coming up at halftime, Shenandoah Ohan. Yes, sir, he's a football player, and he plays for Clemson. And Steve Alvarez will have a profile on him. And Pete Jackson and Bob Greasy will report from the USF&G Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. And then the Citrus Bowl halftime show, and it's something special. 5:52 to go, first half. Paterno's troops trailing by 7. Second down now, 20 yards to go. Williams up the middle, and it's intended for Johnson, the fullback. And again, they're not on target. A little mix-up. Looked like Johnson might have been held up that time in the line of scrimmage.
He might have been. Trey Bauer, number 35, was coming in on a blitz. He was picked up very well, but could have just caused some friction going through that line.
Johnson's had a big day, 2 touchdowns thus far.
Gary, it's 3rd and 20. Now the odds are Clemson's not going to get a first down here. They're going to put the ball in the air. But if they do get a first down, it's a big psychological and emotional victory to keep this drive alive. Penn State really needs to stop them here to try and get better field position.
Williams giving up to Henderson, and Joe the Jet goes nowhere that time. The sophomore out of Freehold, New Jersey, and Dave Zott, the sophomore out of Clifton, New Jersey, made that collision happen, and it brings up a 4th down. Going back will be Jim Coates as Williams comes off. He's given his team 14 points. Both of them touchdowns by Tracy Johnson, but still, you look back on the first snap of the ball game. He threw a pass, 24 yards to Keith Jennings, and kind of established the fact that they could throw the football. Sile to punt. Big rush put on. He got it away. Coates calling for the fair catch, and he'll make it at the 16-yard line. 5:02 left to go in this first half. The Nittany Lions will have the football when we return to sunny Central Florida, the Florida Citrus Bowl. Barry Bender, Len Swan, Steve Alvarez. They call it the Fun Bowl, and the players have had a lot of fun. And right now, Clemson having more fun than Penn State today with a 14-7 lead. Line of scrimmage, the 16-yard line for Matt Kisner and the Nittany Lions. Alexander and Timpson split out. Kisner on target. That's Timpson again. That'll be a first down out to the 30. On that previous play, Rusty Sile punting for Clemson, and he may have hurt himself.
He may have hurt himself. He has only been averaging 34.4 yards a punt, so they put the big rush to try and make something happen. He gets it away, but number 63 right there, that's Scott Cobb, comes in and bumps into him. I don't know how severely, but he limped off the field.
15-yard pickup on that last pass completion for the Nittany Lions. Sets it up across the 30. Timpson comes in motion to the near side. Kisner to Brown, and Gary Brown will get 4 out to the 34. Time now 4:33 left to go in the first half. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6. Kisner with that offensive line that's been banged up all year long. Glad to have everybody back in the lineup. Only Wisniewski and Kuzi played all year long. They had to replace everybody else as the season wore on. 2nd and 6. Play action by Kisner, and that's intended for Green, but nothing to it. Coming up next, the USF&G Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. Syracuse. Boy, they've been a big surprise. They came off of a 5-6 record to go unbeaten, ranked number 4 in the Tigers. The Tigers this year probably have had as much offense as they've ever had. Pat Dye's got an exciting football team.
Great football team. Berger's come a long way at quarterback with Pat Sullivan, former Heisman. They've taken them under his wing, much like Joe Paterno takes his entire football team under his wing to guide them.
3rd down, 6 yards to go. Kisner with good protection again. Now has to run with it. And he's not going to get the first down. He's going to be 4 yards short of it. Out to the 36. Richard McCullough, number 96. One of the backup defensive tackles is there to drop him. And the Nittany Lions will have to punt the football.
Richard McCullough, 6'5", 257. I believe he was in there just for that pass rush. A little quicker than Michael Perry.
Now Wolford goes back this time to receive the punt. What a luxury to have two punt returners, James Lott and this time Wolford.
Wolford, number 3 in the country. Lott, number 16 in the country.
Boy, this is a fine punt by Klaus. He got all of that one. From the 15 to the 20. Wolford tries to stay on his feet, does to the 21. So with 3:18 to go in the first half, the Tigers with a 7-point lead will have it. That was a 50-yard punt by number 96, a former linebacker. Thomas, who cannot play today due to a knee injury, he'll have arthroscopic surgery on Monday. He had 7 100-yard games, and Joe Paterno unequivocally said he's the best running back he's ever had.
So he's better than DJ Dozier, better than Kurt Warner, and if he is, look out, 1988.
Williams on a first down trying to hit his receiver crossing over the middle. That'll be incomplete, and that was Cooper again. Intended for Cooper at the 34-yard line. It'll bring up second down 10.
We'll keep an eye on Cooper as he came in for that play. He almost had that catch, but number 28, Brian Chismar, comes across and sticks him as he goes down for this pass. Now watch, it's throwing across. It's right there. He has to accelerate a little bit more. Doesn't make it. Now Chismar comes in right there, number 28, and look at the hit right on the back. Hurt him as he walked off the field.
Second down 10, handoff straight ahead. It's McFadden, nothing doing. So with 3:05 now, it's already a third down coming up for Clemson. Here's Cooper, the man you talked about, shaking up on the play. 6'3", 190, 30 catches this year.
When the receiver goes down, or even a running back, and you're on the ground, you think the play is over, you relax a little bit, that's when you get hurt. He felt that he was down, nobody was going to come over and hit him. In an awkward position, Chismar comes in, can't stop himself. Boom, the hit. You see him working on the net.
Chip Davis has replaced him, number 7 at wide receiver. Third down now. Williams throws to Jennings, and Jennings got the first down with a good second effort. Right now, he may be having a career day. Keith Jennings, 6'4", 225, out of Summerville, South Carolina, where he was a high school All-American. Makes the first down catch to the 35.
Keith Jennings, we said he's 6'4", 225 pounds. He's not quite sure if he can stay at that weight. He doesn't think he can get down to 215, which he feels will be a better weight for a wide receiver to go on and play professional football. But he thinks he could carry 240, 245 pounds to be a tight end, a Kellen Winslow type of tight end.
I tell you, if you're down there and eating in Clemson all that catfish, you can't lose any weight. I know.
Just go over to the Perry's house for a day.
Here's the pass completed for another first down to the 50-yard line. And so Williams, who had 119 yards previous to the last two completions, hits Ricardo Hooper this time for the first down. And what you have to remember about all this is that Williams has a career-high 221 yards, and he's almost got that in the first half.
Well, like I said earlier, they haven't thrown the football a lot this year, and it's not because they can't throw the football. They just have chosen not to. And the receivers, well, I'll tell you, they're happy. They're running out here saying, yes, this is going to be our kind of football game.
This is a new Clemson team, right? Williams, 11 of 18 now for 150 yards. Going to throw again. 2:01 to go in the game. And this time he finally makes the connection with James Coley. They tried twice, couldn't this time. He hits the 6'4", 245-pound junior. First down.
Certainly, through the air, they're having their day. And on the ground, they really have not been stopped either. They still have been able to run effectively up the middle and run to the outside, getting great runs from McFadden and Allen. Johnson, of course, scoring the 2 touchdowns so far.
19-yard pickup, sets it up at the 29 as we come close to the halfway point of this game. 14-7, the Tigers. Davis split to the near side with Hooper. Williams on the option, pitches back. This is Allen. Allen stays in bounds, and he has another first down. Boy, that option is something. When it's moving, it causes you so many problems. And there have been 2 or 3 times today, you cannot run the option any better than they have.
Absolutely not. You see the pitch? The handoff here, they fake it, they hold it in there, draws people in. Williams goes to the outside, he reads it well, no one on the corner, and he's right there on the sideline. Then you look downfield, and you have Keith Jennings, number 87, blocking the cornerback off far enough downfield to easily pick up a first down.
Look at this balance. They are mixing it up well, aren't they?
Oh, unbelievable.
First down. Williams gives to Allen. Allen's got some running room to the 10, to the 9. And the Tigers now with 1:20. The clock running continues to move the football. by the air as well as on the ground. And Danny Ford's team, losing their last game to South Carolina, when they just couldn't get their offense going, have bounced back and playing as well as they played all year long.
And when you look at their running backs, Terry Allen, McFadden, they come through that line, Johnson, I'm impressed because none of them are trying to put in too many moves. They have great blocking. They're taking the yard straight ahead.
Second down, a long 2 for a 1st and goal. And it's not going to work this time. This time, Williams taking it away from his fullback. Johnson is buried. Good reaction that time.
Pete Kirkendall, number 73, the man who hung in there, defensive tackle,
well,
makes a stop.
He's a fine player, and according to Joe Paterno, will be an outstanding pro in all East selection, 3rd-team All-American. So, decision time now with 45 seconds left. Timeout is called. We'll come back with a 3rd down and about 7, almost 6 yards to go to get a 1st and goal. Tonight, laugh your way into 88 on ABC. First, it's 3 Men and a Baby, plus 2 on Full House, followed by I Married Dora. Then Bob Euchre's the man of the house, but Mr. Belvedere's really in charge. And Brian Keith stars in The Pursuit of Happiness, followed by the award-winning 2020. That's all starting tonight at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central, here on ABC. So Williams on the near sideline, conversing with Danny Ford. He'll come back in with 45 seconds left in this first half. Line of scrimmage, just about the 13-yard line. Clemson with 1 timeout remaining.
I think at this stage, the decision they're making is not so much what play they're going to call, but do we try and go for the 1st down, get into the end zone, or do we put the ball somewhere in the middle of the field to make sure that Treadwell has a straight shot for a field goal?
3rd down, 6.5, and they're playing conservatively as Johnson got maybe a yard or 2, and that'll bring in David Treadwell. He was picked on 7 All-American lists this year, the senior out of Jacksonville, Florida. He has just been sensational, Mr. Clutch for this Clemson team. 5 times in his career, he's booted the winning field goal with less than 40 seconds to go. Twice beating Georgia in the last seconds. And number 18 is something special. He did not play football in college. I should say in high school. He was a soccer player, and his dad, who's an oral surgeon, talked him into coming in and attempting the field goal.
They let the 25-second clock run down all the way down to 1 second. Then they called a timeout. That left the game clock with only 5 seconds. So no matter what happens, they figured there's no chance for Penn State to move down the field and get any points.
So that's their last timeout, and Treadwell will come on. Treadwell has a very interesting field goal procedure. We talked to him, and he explains it this way.
Sure, when I go on the field, I set my block, and I pick a spot out in the stands beyond the uprights, through the middle of the uprights. And then I concentrate, and I relax and take a deep breath and nod to my holder, and I'm ready.
There's no superstitions?
Well, I say this one little saying to myself that my grandmother told me right before the year. She said, throw your heart over the bar, and the ball will follow. And I say that.
I would say that philosophy works. He's 18 of 21. He led the nation in field goal percentage, hitting 86%.
I had the wonderful opportunity to be in Georgia last year when he kicked the winning field goal. Beat that team in the final seconds. He did it again this year.
Now you see they will shift over. This is a Clemson procedure. They do this every time. This is going to be a 28-yard field goal attempt. Holding is Greg Bailey. Snap on the way. The kick is up. He missed it.
Somewhere on that sideline, someone is saying you've just witnessed a miracle. David Treadwell missed a field goal, an easy field goal. We'll take a look. Everything looks good. He comes through it. He just misses it wide to the right. Not by a great deal, but it's a miss.
Well, kicking from the right hash mark. And so our first half comes to a close. Penn State trailing the Clemson Tigers 14-7. The Florida Citrus Bowl will return after this commercial and a word from our local stations. 25 yards of return, and you can 20, out to the 25, has a little alley and gets it all the way out to the 39. He averaged almost 25 yards a return, and you can see why. Looking at the stats, amazing time of possession for Clemson, and also the standpoint that rushing-wise, Penn State just hasn't gotten it going.
They haven't been able to go. Again, they're going against the #2 team in America against the run, only allowing their opponents 80 points a game. But look at the absence of Blair Thomas means to Penn State. Look at his attempts compared to Penn State, the yards and the rest of the team. Averaging 5.3 without his yards, 3.5, and the touchdowns. Keep in mind also, he was a #1 receiver, and the single running back has now caught a pass for Penn State.
And here's a guy trying to replace him, Gary Brown, and he does a very resourceful job that time, bringing it out to the 45-yard line, a gain of 6. It'll bring up 2nd down 4. Well, Thomas is one of those guys, the cutback type guy, that made something out of nothing so often.
He did so often, and when you have that kind of man in, you don't have to ask your line to do a great deal. But what you have to ask your line to do in this ball game is to rise to that occasion, block the extra second, push the people downfield a little bit more so this offensive attack can get going.
Kisner was 4 of 7 in the first half for 72 yards, his long a 39-yarder, and that was for the touchdown. Here's Kisner giving to Green. Green somehow gets up and runs. I thought he was down for a moment. He gets out to the 50, and that would be enough for the first down. Excellent job. Now let's go to Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. You talked about Blair Thomas and his stats. I had a chance to chat with him at halftime. He knew it was going to be tough standing on the sidelines, but he said he never knew it was going to be this tough. It's driving him crazy not to be in the football game. But at least, as he told us yesterday, he does have another year. He'll be able to come back strong. But I'll tell you, he's probably run about 400 yards pacing the sidelines, at least today, back up to you.
Well, that arthroscopic surgery, they hope it goes well. It's not going to keep him out of next year. There's some movement, and it looks like the nose guard, Tony Stevens, made contact. Let's see if he was drawn off. Looks like it'll be 5 yards against Clemson. You look at a Blair Thomas. Now, when Joe Paterno talks about him being the greatest running back he's ever had, you go back to the Capolettis and the Lydell Mitchells and the DJ Doziers and the Kurt Warners.
And don't forget the Franco Harrisons.
And the Franco Harrisons.
Yeah, and he believes he's the best because he runs, he blocks, he catches. He does all of those things extremely well. When I talk to him, you see him there on the sideline, he said he feels pretty good. That's the part that hurts the most.
Yeah.
He feels good, feels like he can play. He wants to be out there, but they're making that decision for him not to play.
Right now, it's 1st and 5 now for Kisner and company. Operating from the 45 of Clemson. Give to Brown, and Brown gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. The thing that really impressed Joe Paterno about this defense of Clemson, not only are they big, Stevens is 300, Chavis is 295, and Michael Dean Perry is 280, but they can run.
They run extremely well for men that size. You saw right there Raymond Chavis, number 79, coming over and making that stop. One of the things they wanted to find out was just how quick was this defensive line of Clemson. The people that have caused Penn State the most problem have been the smaller, faster people who can out-quick their own offensive line.
Comfort, the tight end, jumps to the near side. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Split backs this time. Kisner back to throw. And he hits Pomfret, the tight end. And the big tight end lumbers for a first down to the 38-yard line. He caught 13 passes this year out of Clifton, New Jersey. He's 24 years old. He's the oldest Nittany Lion. And he is in the Masters Finance program at Penn State. That'll be a first down and sets it up at the 38. That is a who's who in running backs.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I forgot Lenny Moore.
Yeah, Lenny Moore, Lydell Mitchell.
Matt Suey.
So versatile. And for a few of the multiple purpose running backs in college football.
Capoletti, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner. Here's a give to Brown. He's got the outside. There he goes to the 20. And Brown picks up a first down for Penn State to the 17. And is he fired up?
He is very fired up. Both Brown and Thompson knew they were going to get a chance to play. Again, Brown took an 80-yard run for a touchdown versus Syracuse. See number 74, Stan Clayton, out in front. A tremendous block right there on number 27, Gene Beasley.
That was Smith that made the tackle, but what a block by Clayton. He didn't even leave his feet. He just kept going.
Just driving.
21-yard gain for that man, Gary Brown. First down at the 18. Here he goes again, picking his way, and he stays on his feet to the 14. I got a feeling Joe Paterno may have put his arm around Gary Brown and said something to him. He's really fired up now as we begin the second half.
Well, he may have said something to Gary that say, come out, we need you to play a game. Let's just get down here and do it. And to the offensive line. You know, we talked about Stan Clayton, number 74. He said, what we like to do on the offensive line is pound and pound and pound. And then we wait for the back to break the big one. And he was speaking more about Blair Thomas, but he hopes that Gary Brown can run that way.
Brown had 18 yards at halftime, now with 48 for the game. On a second down, 7. And this connection, Timpson, the intended receiver at the 10. So Kisner that time not on target, and it brings up a third down and 7.
One of the big names on the Clemson defense, Michael Dean Perry. See Danny Ford yelling in some instructions. Forget the signaling. Get those big southern lungs working. Michael Dean Perry, ACC Player of the Year. We have not mentioned his name a great deal. He has not been on a lot of the tackles. We'll keep an eye on him, see how much of a factor he has been in the ball game.
The ACC career leader in sacks and tackles for loss. Third down, 7 now. Kisner, there's a reverse to Alexander. He's got Kuzi blocking ahead of him. And he's going to get just about to the 10-yard line. It'll bring up a fourth down. Alexander just couldn't get around the corner. Kuzi, number 58, a senior, was leading the way. He was pulling, but they had the angle, and they stopped him at the 11-yard line.
Well, they're hoping they can catch this Clemson defense over pursuing, but the people stay home. You see right there, number 9, James Earl, very fast linebacker, held his position. Number 27, Gene Beasley, comes over again and makes a tackle. He had 8 tackles for a loss in 1987.
This is an anxious moment now for Penn State. This will be a 27-yard field goal. Penn State has missed their last 5. The kick is Eric Eats. Eats' kick is on the way, and he's got it. The senior out of Winter Springs, Florida, returns to his home state, and he puts 3 points on the scoreboard. And Penn State now trailing by 4 with 10:54 to go in this third quarter. This is a football game.
Listen to the heartbeat. Now Chevy announces $500 cash back on every new Chevy S10 pickup, every new 88 Chevy S10 Blazer, and
cutting the lead to 4. Kicking off now be Ray Tarassi. Tarassi was going to be the man who would kick all the placements this year, but an unfortunate incident involving his family, he had to go home for a week. And here's the kickoff, going to be returned by Joe Henderson. And Henderson will bring it out to the 30-yard line. He's dropped there. So Tarassi kicking off, going back to retrieve his tee. Quite a story on him. His brother was shot in a bar this last summer, and he had to go back home. Lost his job to Eats, and Eats has been the kicker except for a couple of games where he hurt his knee in a dorm incident. It's been quite a story, the field goal kicker.
Quite a story, and for Tarassi losing his brother that way, people say they just took his heart right away from him. They were so very close. And we can certainly understand how, when you look at the loss of a brother like that in a game of football, how the game doesn't seem to be that important.
Isn't that the truth? Here is Tracy Johnson now on a first down run, picks up about a yard. It'll be second down 9. Now, what do we got here, Mr. Swan?
Well, we got a lot of X's and O's and some squiggles here and some squiggles there. That's a Penn State offense. You're talking about just what they want to do when they get back in the field, making their analysis of how to block the defensive front of Clemson.
They moved it the last time and got the field goal to 27 yards. Second down 9 now from the 31-yard line. It's Williams' numbers in the first half. He hits Jennings. That's the guy who's been looking for all day long, and they just can't get him down. That's the first down out to the 45.
Well, I think what we really see in Jennings is a man who, if he does gain the weight, maintains his speed and his strength when he goes up in weight, he is going to be a tight end. You know, he has good speed, doesn't have phenomenal speed, so his future as far as playing football is not going to be as a wide receiver. However, he is ideal for the option offense at Clemson.
Pretty good bloodlines. His brother, of course, Stanford. He has 6 catches now, 103 yards. He had 6 catches earlier this year against North Carolina State. Pitch comes back to McFadden. McFadden ducks it in and gets across the 47, maybe to the 48, a gain of 3. It'll bring up second and 7. Let's go back to Steve.
Thank you, Gary. I found one man who does not have a Clemson Tiger paw or anything from Penn State on his face. This is Peter. Now, what does it say on your forehead?
I love you, Mimi and Pop Pop.
And who's Mimi? Is that your grandma?
Yeah.
And where is she?
Shreveport.
Shreveport. Did you come from Louisiana for this game?
Yeah.
Did your mom let you drive?
No.
Well, that's good. You having fun?
Yeah.
Who's winning?
I don't know.
Well, you're having fun. That's all that counts. Let's throw it back to Gary. Say back to you, Gary.
And here it comes again. The Williams machine rolling right, this time hitting Gary Cooper. Rodney Williams has really given this Clemson offense a shot in the arm. What a job he's done running the team.
And the Clemson offense has come back very strong in their first possession of the second half. All too often, the team goes in up at halftime. Second team makes an adjustment. Penn State comes out, makes a few adjustments. They get it on the scoreboard their first drive, and you look for a lull in that ball game. But Clemson's moving the ball extremely well. 23-yard gain. Williams for the game now. 206 yards. 14 of 21. First down at the 30-yard line. The option. Pitch comes back to Terry Allen. Allen's on his feet with a 15. A race is on. Johnson tries to get him and does. Eddie Johnson dropped him at the 8-yard line. First and goal. The option is working so beautifully for Danny Ford. Williams executing perfectly. Watch him fake it in there. He holds it, draws people in. There's a pitch early because the pressure's coming up. Great block again downfield by the wide receiver. Keith Jennings, number 87. And then Terry Allen, a few moves of his own to bring it inside the 10-yard line. 21-yard gain. He's 6 for 64. First and goal now at the 8. Williams to the fullback. Johnson makes it to possibly the 5-yard line. It'll be second and goal. You know that interview a while ago that Steve Alvarez had with that youngster on the sideline reminds us that the Florida Citrus Bowl, all the benefits goes to the Shriners Hospital. And yesterday at a banquet we had at noon, they talked about how they worked with so many of the burn victims, the youngsters that have orthopedic problems. What a great cause this bowl has been able to help with hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all across America, that's what the Shriners do. I played in the East-West Shrine game in California. The problem we understand is that the 25-second clocks were not operable, and that's what they're going to check to see if that's going to be the rest of the day or whether they're going to be functional from here on. Interesting. I wonder if they were functional for the first half, completely functional. Well, Clemson thought a couple of times they were. There it is, coming up the Sugar Bowl. Right now, we have a lot of football here. 8:16 left in the third, 14-10. Penn State cutting it to 4 with a field goal here in the third quarter. But now, Clemson moving effectively as a second and goal at the 5. And if I haven't wished you this already, Mr. Swan, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you also. 1988, the year of the Swan, coming up. I knew that was coming. Well, you couldn't call 1988 the year of the Mackey. Well, Danny Ford right now, I'd like to start 88 out with a victory. His team trying to add to their advantage. I think made up of a lot of sophomores, freshmen, juniors. He has a strong team coming back for 1988. And this bowl game, because there's no national championship on the line for these two teams, is kind of a prep. I think he's just getting his team used to this environment, getting them positioned for it. So if next year the circumstances are right, he keeps them free of the injuries, he'll try and drive his team and get them in that position for number 1. Well, he said, I don't want anybody thinking we're going to be better next year, but I think he had that gleam in his eye. Oh, yeah. You know who they play next year? They play Florida State. That'll be a heck of a football game. From the 5 now, second and goal. Cooper split to the near side. Jennings to the top. Williams giving up. There's Johnson again. One of the players signaling he's in, but the official doesn't agree. He's at the half-yard line. Oh. Johnson almost had his third touchdown run of the day. I tell you, this is a call an official loves to make. This is the drama call. You see him bullying in there. The official standing on the sideline, and he's going to mark that ball just short of the goal line. Boy, that's close, isn't it? It's real close. Here they go. This is the 9th play of this drive that started from the 30. This time, they're in. Touchdown. Johnson, his third. I told you coming into the ball game, Tracy Johnson, the junior, for Clemson at fullback, has only been stopped 2 times in short yardage situations of 2 or less yards. On the goal line, he's not stopped again.
Well, he has 3. The Clemson record is 4. And now the point after attempt coming by Treadwell. Bailey to hold, and the kick is on the way. And it's 21-10. So after that field goal, the Tigers wasted no time reestablishing their authority.
And we've mentioned it in parts throughout the telecast, the offensive line of Clemson just completely dominating the line of scrimmage. They get off the ball, they get the charge, they seal out the inside just long enough for Tracy Johnson to score.
Impressive drive covering 70 yards, and they did it all. Clemson, 21-10. Johnson registered his 3rd 6-pointer of the afternoon.
9 plays in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. A short amount of time for that length of drive.
So Penn State's going to have to come back again. They've been playing catch-up all afternoon long. Alexander and Timpson put to the near side. Kisner sends Borowski, the fullback, in motion, pitches to Thompson, and Thompson stays on his feet, and he brings it out to the 32. That's an 8-yard pickup. 2nd down, 2 yards to go. Thompson was a heavily recruited player out of the Knoxville, Tennessee area. Grew up about 10 minutes from the University of Tennessee campus. He was Mr. Football in Tennessee. They consider him the outside threat. He's 5'11". He weighs 204 pounds.
You wonder, with Johnny Majors down there in Tennessee, how a guy like this gets away, huh?
I think Johnny wonders. 2nd down, 2. That's Timpson in motion for the Nittany Lions. Kisner gives to Thompson. He bounces out, stays on his feet. Look at this. Out to the 40, 45, 50, and that's a Blair Thomas type run. Richard Smith caught him. That is just sheer determination, averting a loss into a 1st down.
Part of coaching, and a big part of coaching on a game day situation, in a game day situation, is making adjustments. And watch Thompson, number 44, as he makes a great individual effort. But Joe Paterno is not a coach who's going to sit down and let that moment get by him. His coaches were adjusting, making changes on that blocking scheme on the offensive line, and it seems whatever adjustments they made, they seem to work.
They're knocking some people back right now. That's a 24-yard run. Line of scrimmage, the 44 of the Tigers. 6.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. Kisner to Thompson again. Thompson to 40, 35, another 1st down. Isn't it something? You got a Blair Thomas, you've got a Gary Brown, and a Leroy Thompson. I would say that's pretty good depth at tailback for Joe Paterno.
Excellent depth. Fran Ganner, the offensive coordinator, said, we're going to pick our spot, or we're going to test the Clemson defensive line. We're going to come after them and see just how good they are against the run. Early on in this ball game, the entire 1st half, they were running and throwing the football. Now it seems they've made up their mind. They're going to run the football and see what happens.
They're playing with about 2 clicks more of enthusiasm right now. Kisner back again, setting up deep. Over the middle. It's complete to Thompson. And he picks up 7 to the 25-yard line. So he can catch the ball as well as run it.
That is the 1st reception by a running back for Penn State this afternoon. The very 1st one.
This guy's got to be huffing and puffing right now.
Well, he's huffing and puffing, but when I talked to Blair, he said both Leroy and Gary know that this is a great opportunity for them to make their mark and show the coaches what they can do. They didn't really want to see Blair get hurt to get their chance. If an opportunity is presented, take it.
2nd down, a short 3. Timpson goes in motion. Kisner to Thompson again. Thompson, 1st down, then some. Inside the 20 to the 18. Boy, he's a strong guy, isn't he? He's been shedding some tacklers. Raymond Chavis, number 79, who is the cousin of Barney, who used to play for the Denver Broncos, eventually made the tackle. Just inside the 19, 1st down.
He is a tough player. Early in the year, he had a problem. He had turf toe. That's a dislocation of the toe that is very common on AstroTurf.
You can see now Thompson will get a breather. Gary Brown, the other freshman, comes in to replace him. 1st down, just inside the 19 of Clemson. Kisner back, looking far side. Alexander dropped it. Out of Piscataway, New Jersey. He was out last year to try to catch up academically. That is one thing about Joe Paterno. You do not compromise your academics. And on several occasions, he'll sit a guy down, won't even have him come to practice to be sure he gets his grades back up.
You know, you hear that stuff and you wonder if that's really true. You know, and I had not spent a lot of time with Joe Paterno, and I talked with El Bud Thalman, the sports information director who used to be with the Bills, and he said, no, very serious about that. It's Joe Paterno's standard, which is higher than the university standards.
Second down 10 after that incompletion. Kisner to Green, and Green doesn't go far, maybe a yard. John Green is quite a story. Only 187 pounds, playing the fullback. He was a former tailback. They moved him to fullback. They just couldn't find anybody to play that position. And at one time, Joe Paterno tried to talk John Green into transferring. He didn't think he'd ever play at Penn State.
Yeah, he's a tough little kid. Reminds me of Manfred Moore, who played fullback for USC after Sam Cunningham left. Manfred Moore was a great high school player in the San Fernando Valley, but just small, but very tenacious. Started for fullback. We went to the Rose Bowl.
3rd and 9. They'd like to keep it moving here, not have to settle for a field goal. Kisner back. Blindside coverage coming to his side. Gets it to Brown. Brown sidesteps a tackler, and he dances inside. He's got it. 1st and goal. What an effort by Gary Brown.
Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Goes to show you that Little League Baseball is not the only thing they play there. They're setting up the screen. Matt Kisner letting the rushers come at him. He's got one blocker out in front, but this is a great individual effort as 4 people have a chance to stop him before the 1st down, and he picks it up. Goes straight for the marker, steps up beyond it, and then out of bounds.
Boy, he had good field presence, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Good block from Wisniewski on that play. 1st and goal now at the 9-yard line. Simpson in motion. This is Brown. Brown with Kuzi blocking ahead. Gets maybe 2 as he's to the 6. So it's a platoon football right now. Thompson earlier, now Brown doing the job for the Nittany Lions. And for all those teams that have to play Penn State for the next 3 years, they're going to be around for 3 more years.
They are going to be around. I wonder if Joe Paterno didn't just look Brown and Thompson in the eye and say, listen, you're both backups because Blair is number 1. But if anyone's going to have an opportunity to play, they're going to have to prove it to me in the second half of this ball game. Here's your chance. Here's the opportunity. Who's going to take it?
2nd and goal now from the 6. Kisner. Excellent protection. Throwing. Green had it for a moment. He had quite a collision down there. That's the All-American Wolford, number 20, that separated him from the football. That ball was well thrown.
The ball was well thrown. He had a chance to catch it. But not only was Wolford there, but James Lott was there, number 9, the linebacker, James Earl. All were in the vicinity of this ball. You see it thrown on the run. Very good. There's Wolford there. You see Lott coming from the other side.
Wolford's something special. He had an interception earlier that was negated by a penalty. 3rd down now, goal from the 6. Penn State 2 of 8 on 3rd downs thus far. Kisner back to throw, looks up, and it's intercepted. Picked up. Murray Abel, number 56, an inside linebacker. He's on his way to the 35, the 40, 45, 46-yard line. To pick off one in the end zone.
Especially when you're a linebacker who doesn't necessarily play the pass that well. His asset is playing the run. But the ball was intended for Michael Timpson, and he was just standing right there, makes a great play. You see the blocking he gets downfield, the way he ran the football, he could be a fullback.
Boy, Penn State has left the ball at the 9-yard line on a fumble. They throw an interception to the end zone. They've missed some opportunities, and there's a penalty flag. Well, Murray Abel running that one out. He is from Spartanburg, South Carolina. He was a high school All-American, averaging about 8 tackles in the last 5 games.
I got a dead ball, illegal procedure, movement on the interior line.
He didn't get a starting call because Doug Brewster did, but I would think that maybe he'll be in there for the rest of the football game after that kind of a play. That was a 46-yard interception return, and Paterno can't be happy. From the 41 now. 4:13 to go in the 3rd quarter. The penalty, 5 yards against the Tigers. It's 1st and 15. Williams wants to throw. Over the middle, Cooper's there, and it's broken up. Good coverage that time by Willie Thomas. And you can see Rodney Williams was very close. They're really doing some damage with that one. There's Thomas.
Very fortunate that this was not a catch by Gary Cooper. He's in the crowd. But Rodney Williams feeling confident, secure, gives him a chance to make the catch. He's got his hands there, but it's knocked away. Willie Thomas, number 25, stops Gary Cooper, number 25. That was a 50.
Second down, 15 after that near miss. Chip Davis split to the near side, 3 wideouts. Up the middle, McFadden to the 50. And he's about 2, maybe 3 yards short of the first down. He got a lot of that back. It'll bring up a third down. The line of scrimmage, the 47 of Penn State. You said something very interesting, and it's so accurate, Lynn. The running backs of Clemson don't get cute. They're just really have that resourcefulness to get to the point where they need to be and get there in a hurry.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, Terry Allen, coach, was saying that sometimes he scooted a little bit too much sometimes, and he had to just pull the reins on them a little bit.
They had 3 outstanding running backs a year ago, and they've just reloaded this year. Here's a reverse to Cooper, and it does not fool Penn State. There is a penalty flag, however. We may have a tackling by face mask. Let's see. Quintus McDonald, 92, sniffed that one out. But let's see if the penalty's against the Nittany Lions.
They're holding against the offense.
No, it's holding. Well, they'll refuse that because it'll bring up a 4th down. I thought maybe he had a face mask there for a moment.
I saw a face mask come across his across the helmet, but they're calling holding.
Now, Danny Ford was kind of thinking maybe they would just kind of put the lid on this one, but right now they're going to have to get rid of the football. If they refuse the penalty, it'll be a 4th down, and they've got to refuse it.
We'll take a look. There's the tackle. We're looking for the holding. The holding must have been going on somewhere else. Certainly there's no one to hold except for the man with the ball, and that's Penn State holding on to him.
Well, there was no face mask, as you could see on that replay. Anyway, it's 4th down. They refuse the penalty, and Sile will come in a punt. So Penn State holding when they desperately needed to. Trailing 21-10. They couldn't afford to give up any more points, especially after throwing that interception in the end zone. Boy, Ford's he's got the attention of the officials now, hasn't he?
That's right.
I'll tell you what, that southern drawl gets your attention.
Nobody would have any problems understanding what he's saying at that moment either.
I tell you, he's a wonderful guy. Kind of sneaky smart, isn't he?
Very sneaky smart.
Here's Sile from the 35. Big rush put on. And we may have a roughing. No, yes, they're throwing the penalty flag. Oh, what a mistake by Penn State. McDonald, 92, collided with Sile.
But that's the second time it's happened. The first time they didn't call it. He was hit, bumped into by number 63, Scott Gobb, earlier in the game. This time, undeniably, against the defense, Quintus McDonald, number 92.
Wow. Look at it again. Well, he made contact with a short man and fell into him, but
you know what? In professional football, if you're blocked into the punter, it's not a penalty.
Let's listen to this call now, what the determination is.
They got a 5 yard running into the kicker against the defense. It's going to be 4th down and 1.
Isn't that interesting? They're a yard short because of running into the kicker. It's not an automatic first down, so they still, let's see if they're going to punt it. Looks like Sile's coming in on 4th and 1. Clemson not going to gamble here with a 21-10 lead.
It's the fair rule in college football. He was not intentionally trying to hurt him. He was blocked. He rolled back into him. 5 yards instead of a longer penalty and an automatic first down.
Intentional, flagrant, as opposed to the unintentional, and the 5 yard. Last punt by this guy was only 30 yards, but he hammers this one, and it's going to go into the end zone for the touchback. So Penn State almost dearly cost themselves, but they needed 6 yards instead of 5. The penalty was a yard short.
Very interesting when you have a fullback like Johnson, who has guaranteed them success on 3rd down. They don't go for it on 4th down.
But you know something? The Bear wouldn't like it. The old Bear, the disciple of Danny, if you went Willard, leading by 11. about a yard, and that's all. Rusty Sharpie and John Johnson made the stop. Well, we're in that commercial break. Danny Ford diplomatically now pleading his cause. Earlier, I think the diplomacy was being stretched a little bit. I don't think the officials were liking what they were hearing. He got that chaw tobacco. By the way, did you know that he chews a different kind of tobacco during the week, and on game day it's a different brand?
Why?
I don't know. Just a little fact that I was told or something. I don't.
The gym for the day.
A guy down on the sideline who never misses anything, Steve Alvarez, maybe can expound on that a little bit. The penalty now makes it 1st and 20. Penn State operating from the 10-yard line. Kisner back from the 3 to set it up. Trying to set up a screen. He's got Thompson. Thompson's got a blocker. Out to the 15. And he'll make it to the 17. Let's go down to Mr. Alvarez.
Well, Gary, I got this thing figured out with Danny Ford with changing the chewing tobacco. He does his normal thing during the week, and he goes to red man chewing tobacco during the game. I figure it's like when a player comes and puts their game jersey on, gets their game face on, Danny gets his game chaw on, and this guy could use the chaw behind me. Back up to you.
Hey, Steve, don't stand too close to Danny. I was with him the other day in practice, and my shoes are never going to be the same. Second down now, 13 yards to go after that last screen. Kisner, play action fake. A lot of time, hits Thompson, and Thompson out to the 22. They're still 8 yards short of the first down.
I got to tell one more story. We're talking about Danny Ford and the chewing tobacco. It was the introduction at the luncheon yesterday. The man who introduced him at the luncheon said, when they talk about people who chew tobacco, if a coach chews tobacco and he wins, then he's cute. If a coach chews tobacco and he loses, then it's a nasty habit. He goes, here's to what might be a cute coach tomorrow afternoon.
That was a great banquet. Dan Deerdorf of ABC was the guest speaker. Did a great job. And Paterno and Ford, they were quick. Third down now, 8 yards to go. Kisner back again. He's hit from behind. The ball is loose. Penn State's on top of it. That was McCullough, number 96, who hit Kisner from the backside. There he is.
And the arm was not moving forward, so it's a fumble, brings up 4th down.
And now Klaus, who punted so well in the first half, has to go back. Here it is again.
Take a look. He goes. He doesn't even get that arm cocked. Halfway back. And he's hit. That's a fumble.
Looks like Thompson is the guy that got on it. Here is Klaus, who averaged 40.5 during the years. You look again at it. Thompson, 44, pouncing on it. Now a big rush and a very fine punt. Klaus has just been hammering them today. This is Lott. James Lott will bring it up to the 30. Has a wall. The picket line is set to the 50. And he takes it to the 46-yard line. I'm telling you, Clemson today at times has played some plays about as perfectly as you can play them. The option, and in this particular case, the punt return. We have come to the end of 3/4 of play. Clemson 21, Penn State 10. The Florida Citrus Bowl will return after this commercial. Well, the sunglasses and the suntans are in order here in Central Florida. Orlando, Florida, the site of the Florida Citrus Bowl. A little cloud in the background, but boy, it's been beautiful. We start the 4th quarter. Clemson with a 21-10 lead. They have a first down now at the 46. The pitch comes back to Terry Allen, and Allen will get 4, maybe 5. We talked about perfection. I'm going to go back and let Lynn Swan diagram that last punt return.
It was a tremendous punt, and he outkicks the coverage. That's why you see him back here going for the ball. But look at the blocks he's going to pick up as he comes along. Now, right here, he picks up a great block by Arlington on Nunn, and right here is where he really picks up a tremendous block. That's number 31, Rusty Sharpia, on 55, Mark Wester. And it's unbelievable. It brought the crowd to its feet.
That was a 31-yard punt return after a 61-yard punt. It took 30 yards off of that fine effort by Klaus. And on a 2nd down and 5, Allen is buried this time. Polamalu, number 99. Oatoa Polamalu. And also Matt Johnson, 51. So to bring up now, a 3rd down. And still about 6 yards to go. That defensive line of Penn State has been a strength all year long. with Palomalu and Kirkendall and Johnson very solid up front. From the 42, 3rd down, 6. Williams wanting to throw, and was it made? It was. The catch is made, and that's a 1st down. And guess who caught it? Keith Jennings.
Don't have to guess too much this afternoon on that play. Keith Jennings has been doing it all afternoon. These are the 3rd quarter stats. It's Clemson clearly out in front, passing, running, just dominating in this football game.
But look at those 2 turnovers. Both of them occurring inside the 10-yard line. Once by fumble and once by interception.
And that's what Joe Paterno means about the offense, not screwing things up, making big errors.
Keith Jennings now is 7 for 110. Those are career highs in both catches and yards. This time, bursting out of the middle. Tracy Johnson. That'll be another 1st down. That last throw by Williams, by the way, had something on it. You talk about a rope.
And a lot of on it.
Jennings.
But give him even more credit for reading that defense. Looked like it was coming out on the option. They had the right play called. He drops back real quick, fires it in there when his receiver, Keith Jennings, had tight coverage on him.
You know, they talk about Johnson and Lancaster being like pulling guards, that they just knock people back. But Johnson today has added another dimension. He's been very effective carrying the ball, scoring 3 touchdowns. This time Allen, big hole to the 10, 5, Clemson touchdown. Georgia, the ACC Rookie of the Year, the All-ACC pick. Treadwell adding a point after. 28-10, Clemson. So after having to cut to 4, the Tigers have come back to score twice. Joe Paterno, well, he needs something, and something in a hurry.
Terry Allen, a straight line runner. When you compare him to McFadden, they say he has a few more moves, and to his advantage was a wishbone halfback in high school.
The Tigers, who are 9-2 and ACC champions, playing well to this first day of 88. Well, Kelly Hayes, our spotter, indicating that the 28 points that Clemson has on the board is the most they've ever scored in a bowl game. They've had 27 before. They now lead it 28-10. Thompson will return this kickoff for Penn State. Got some running room, and he brings it out to the 26-yard line. Coming up next, the USF&G Sugar Bowl from the Superdome in New Orleans, Syracuse. Talk about a quarterback, Don McPherson. He's exciting. And also Jeff Berger for Auburn. From the 25 now, Penn State. A lot of catching up to do and not a lot of time to do it. 12.5 minutes left to play. Alexander Timpson split to the near side. Boy, those 2 turnovers have come back to really hurt this Penn State team. Kisner to Thompson again. Thompson pick up 4, and he shoved backwards. The 2nd down and almost 7 yards to go. Well, Paterno knew that this was an uncharacteristic year. They've had a lot of turnovers in the minus, the red numbers, which certainly is not the kind of style of play that Joe Paterno through the years has expected of his Nittany Lions. And again today, the critical turnovers, 2 of them inside the 10. There's that last drive, Allen on the 25-yard run. 11:54 to go from the Florida Citrus Bowl. Kisner going to try to play some catch-up. Hits Brown. Brown turns up the field, and he stopped 2 yards short of the 1st down. You can see a lot of gang tackling going on by this Clemson team. They really get people on top of the football.
They certainly do. They pursue extremely well. They're quick to move off that line of scrimmage. Another team that is going to just read and then react. They're going to react and then move towards the ball.
Michael Dean Perry coming out of the ball game. McCauley comes in to replace him. You know what's interesting about this game? Clemson getting stronger as it goes on. And that's by design. They think they're depth. They can wear people down. They done it time and time again, and right now, they're in excellent position. Brown trying to get it on 3rd and 2. He did not. Brown did not get the first down. It was closed down. There's number 90 leading that charge defensively.
Looked like he only gained about a half yard. Take a look. Low end zone look from the Penn State side. The pitch. 27 going in there, thinking he's going to pick it up. Brown just met rudely. Number 90, Vance Hammond, defensive tackle.
He's a 3rd stringer. That's part of that depth we were talking about. Here's the punt to Wolford. A beautiful punt by Klaus again. Wolford brings it out to the 25, and you can see why he led the ACC in punt return. Stopped that time by the Nittany Lions at the 27-yard line. Clemson with 11:01 right now in the driver's seat.
She said the pall bearer.
I saw that. It's outside our hotel all week. I was getting kind of nervous. First down for the 27. Pitch comes back. And McFadden able to get a couple of yards. And we had a feature earlier on Ohan. And here's part of that Ohan story and Steve Alvarez.
Thank you, Gary. Ohan, of course, came to the States to Nevada to stay with his grandparents. I have them with me now, Patel and Louisa Narce, who live in Nevada. What do you think of American football? You're from London originally. What do you think of American football?
Marvelous.
Yeah?
Marvelous, yeah, good.
You are from London, but I would imagine, being Indian, that you would like cricket.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
But Clemson doesn't have a cricket team, huh?
No. We haven't got cricket in here.
What do his parents think of him playing American football?
Well, great. We see most games. We see all game in a football TV. When it is televised.
Is it a little bit different being here in the South than it is in Nevada?
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit.
Hard to understand these folks, huh? Hard to understand their accent?
Yeah, the accent is different.
I know what you're talking about. I've talked to Danny Ford. Back up to you, Gary.
I love the way she said marvelous.
Yeah.
That was really unique.
I also love the way, Steve, when she asked her if she had a hard time understanding, and she said, what?
Well, the first down during all that discussion. Another one of those outstanding option plays. Got it for the Tigers. 9:49 left in this game. Williams pitches back. It's McFadden again, and this time gets maybe a yard, and that's all. Bring up 2nd down and 9.
People are watching from everywhere.
Well, next year they'll have more seats. They're going to put $30 million into this facility and jump the attendance up to 72,000.
And then I wonder, like so many other cities, if they'll try and bid for an NFL team.
Well, they've got an NBA franchise coming here, the Orlando Magic. In fact, you can see them building a field house back on the horizon. There's a pass over the middle, and Jennings, that's one of the few times Jennings hasn't been able to latch onto one. Incomplete.
Well, that play was designed for him to come across the field, get behind the linebackers. They were playing seemed like a man-to-man coverage. He was behind all the linebackers. If the ball had just hung up in the air a little bit more, he could have faded back to it and made the catch. But there was nobody behind him to stop him.
Talking about the Orlando Magic, and we're going to give you a shot. Andy Sedaris and Peter Lasser on the spot in every instant, and there it is. It's just starting to be built in the background. One day, they better have good weather if they don't finish that one up, right?
That's true. One of the men responsible for that team being down here will be the general manager, Pat Williams, who spent so many years with the Philadelphia 76ers. Excuse me, he's with the Miami Heat.
Well, we've got a break now with 9:01 left to go in this game. Even the Chickens having a lot of fun today. Clemson sure is. They're on their way to victory.
Different taste, each one delish. 7 all-new seafood trios starting at $6.95 at Red Lobster. Good things come in threes.
Red Lobster presents The Platters.
Oh, yes, it's the holiday season.
A medley of party platters to go.
Heavenly taste of shrimp and crab claws. It's party time.
Call Red Lobster for party platters to go.
Here we are again, Chevy and Ford, side by side. USAC tested them for performance. Standard half-tons with the best automatics and half-ton payloads. Results? The full-size Chevy beat Ford. Beat him in acceleration, highway passing, pylon course handling, level and uphill trailer touring acceleration. So how does Ford stand up to the Chevy with a Vortec V6? Still not very well.
Now, get $500 cash back on new full-size CK pickups.
That's today's Chevy truck.
Scientists at Florida's Department of Citrus invented frozen concentrated orange juice in the mid-1940s. It was not until this important development that the frozen food industry became a commercially viable investment.
The oranges, the Florida Citrus Bowl. We've had a few of those oranges down here as we have 9:01 to go. It is Pat Williams who is down here with the Orlando Magic. You were right, Mr.
That was right. And the confusion was that
doesn't get anything, and it'll bring up a 4th down. So Clemson will have to punt the football. Clemson, by the way, took that timeout a while ago. They have 2 left in the game. I want to remind everybody to stay with us after the game when the Chevrolet Players of the Game will be named. Right now, we're going to have to work to figure out who that is. There's been a lot of outstanding players, especially for the Tigers. Coming up next, down there in the Deep South, Cajun country, New Orleans, the Sugar Bowl. Sile with a punt, hit it well. Jim Coates will field it at the 20. Going to give off to a reverse to Timpson. Timpson's got a block. He'll come up to the 20, and he brings it out to the 24. Got a feeling the Tigers were kind of waiting on that one. James Earl was the guy there who kept him from cutting it up the field and go farther. 8:12 to go. Clemson 28, Penn State 10. Has to be a little bit disappointed. They had come off of that 1-point win against Notre Dame. And here today, the 2 turnovers inside the 10. By the way, we've just been told we have a record attendance here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. 53,152. That'll be broken next year. 8:12 to go. Kisner on target to Timpson. Timpson is just trying somehow to get that lightning speed of his in the open field. And he's going to pick up 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
One of the things they did to adjust, they had number 20, Wolford, up there playing him very tightly, but they had help behind him. So he was right up there to play that quick screen with help immediately. Look at the quarterbacks, the way they fared. Oh, Williams having a great day.
And remember, he started the first snap throwing a 24-yard completion. Kisner, that big interception on the goal line. 2nd down, 5. Kisner, the tight end. That is Bob Morosco, number 89, out of Whitcliffe, Ohio, who had 5 catches during the regular season. Hauls that one in. 1st down, the 45, and the Lions haven't rolled over yet. Looks like Morosco's hurt. He's gotten down, and they're going to have to get him out of there.
Well, take a look at the replay, and you can see why he might be hurt. It's a great pass. He goes up, and right there he takes a shot right in the ribs. Rusty Sharpia, number 31, the man who had the great block on the punt return, comes back with a great tackle on Morosco.
You know, Sharpie's the shortstop for Clemson, or will be, and he came up and put a real hit on Morosco. Morosco down, and Pomfret will come in and replace him. Sharpie was one of those guys who came primarily to Clemson to play baseball. And then kind of as a backup, and he was a backup to a guy by the name of Bill Spires, who was a first-round draft pick by the Brewers.
Absolutely.
Spires was the punter a year ago for Clemson. If you followed all of that, you're listening very closely, I guess. Morosco now going out. First catch of the day, a 25-yarder. Tonight, laugh your way into 88 on ABC. First, it's 3 Men and a Baby, plus 2 on Full House, followed by I Married Dora. Then Bob Uecker's the man of the house, but Mr. Belvedere's really in charge. And Brian Key stars in The Pursuit of Happiness, followed by 2020. All starts tonight at 8 o'clock. Back to throw on 1st down, Kisner, and he slides down. He had to try to avoid the on-rushing lineman. He went down. The guy coming up was Mari Abel, the guy who picked off the pass earlier in the end zone. So they lose a yard or 2 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down. The clock running with 6:48 left in the game.
We were talking about early in the ball games, and Clayton, who has been doing a very good job on that last play. Number 90, Vance Hammond, just really bent him over. came up, took on the blocker, and just flattened him.
He was out one month with a knee problem. Just came back for the Notre Dame game. See that big brace he had on. Second down and 12. Kisner going deep. Nobody down there but Tigers. Jerome Henderson, a freshman, the closest to the ball, number 36. And that will stop the clock with 6:19, bring up a third down and 12.
Matt Kisner was not having a bad day throwing the football. Just that one interception looms big because it was a turnover inside the 5-yard line.
Very personable guy out of Youngwood, Pennsylvania. And as Joe Paterno said, he's a tremendous leader. Everybody believes him. Right now, he's got a lot of catching up to do. Third down and 12. Throws to Borowski, the fullback. Borowski has Earl on him. Gets by Earl, and then he's grounded at the 41-yard line. Still some 6 yards short of the first down. Brings up a fourth down.
Clemson only rushed 3 people, getting 8 people back into the defensive coverage. Still, they were able to put just enough pressure so he couldn't find a place to run. He had to get rid of the ball and covered all the receivers downfield extremely well.
I would say that that might be the most obvious difference in the two defenses, the speed of Clemson. They run people down.
And Danny asked that question at the top of the show. He said, I just wonder how quick they are. You can't always tell by watching the film. You have to get out the field and play hard against each other.
Well, they're going for it on fourth down. Fourth down and 7. Kisner airs it out. Alexander's down there, and it's intercepted.
Wolford.
That is Wolford again. He is something special.
At this point, I guess it's all right to mention that Wolford came into the ball game with some question mark because he had re-injured an Achilles tendon, and they were concerned about how long and how well he could play. But watch his poise and cool. He plays underneath, he waits, judges the football, goes up in the air and takes it away from Michael Alexander, number 9. You see the hit that Matt Kisner takes as he releases his ball from number 90, Vance Hammond.
Well, Wolford had one wiped away by penalty, comes back and gets one anyway. He had 4 interceptions during the regular season. So at the 20, here they go. Allen brings it out to the 25. Second interception by Kisner. Third turnover by Penn State. He fumbled the ball, went out of bounds, and Clemson still has the football. But Wolford, they have talked about him as being the finest defensive back in the history of Clemson. He was an All-American this year, All-ACC. He was second in the ACC with passes broken up with 14. They didn't throw at him a lot late in the year. They were afraid to.
No wonder. Everything about him says he's a good athlete, a good leaper. He's smart, great deal of poise.
Other than that, he's a nice guy, too. Second down now, about 6. Tracy Johnson straight ahead. 5:10 left in this game. Well, at the start of the year, a lot of people thought Clemson could win the national championship. Some of the thinking behind that was they had 8 home games, and if you know what it's like to play in Death Valley, it's tough. But interestingly enough, they lost at home against North Carolina State. Trailed 30-0. Coming back in that game, Williams threw an NCAA record 46 passes playing catch-up, and they finished 30-28. Then they lost the last game of the year against South Carolina in Columbia. But look out for this team next year.
They have a few people they're going to have to make up for.
Third down, a yard to go, and Johnson gets it easily.
But there are so many others that are coming back. Of course, Michael Dean Perry is a senior. Tony Stevens, the nose tackle, is a senior. But their entire secondary will be back. Their starting secondary will be back. James Earl, the outside linebacker, will be gone. The other 3 linebackers will be back. Raymond Chavos, a junior linebacker, will be back. And, of course, on offense, they've got the Terry Allen. McFadden will be back. They've got Joe Henderson, who's extremely quick. You haven't seen much of him.
And they got the quarterback back.
And Gary Cooper.
Yep. First down on that last play. Allen, by the way, now has 97 yards rushing on the day. This time across the 35 to the 37-yard line comes Johnson. And by the way, if they win today, and they're going to, obviously, Clemson would be the 4th team in Clemson history to win 10 games. That was one of the goals Danny Ford presented to his team coming into this game. Of course, their best year, 81, when they were 12-0. Danny Ford was an all-Southeastern Conference tackle for Alabama. He played for the Bears, stayed there as a graduate assistant, went to Virginia Tech, came to Clemson as an assistant, and 23 games later, the head coach at the age of 33. There's another first down. Allen just went over 100 yards for the day, moving that ball out to the 45. Clemson, of course, had the probationary time they had to battle back from. I'd say they've gotten back, wouldn't you?
I would say so. All the people we mentioned coming back, they're poised young kids. Keith Jennings, the big receiver who's had a great day, is back. Tracy Johnson is back.
We have a new quarterback, by the way. That's number 1, Randy Anderson, a senior who used to battle for that starting spot, then lost out to Williams, who hadn't played any. Pitches to Henderson. Allen, by the way, over 100 yards, his 3rd 100-yard day of the year. His high was 183 against Virginia. Show you the depth they have. McFadden, who started the game, had 226 yards in the game. They had 4 different backs this year that went over 100 yards.
Well, running that option, Danny Ford likes to keep his people fresh. When you're the halfback in the option, most of your runs are going to be to the outside, tough yards, deep in that eye. You got the talent, you use it.
2:25 to go. Anderson again at quarterback. Pitches back. This is Henderson. Look out. He's got great speed to the 20, 15, 10, and dropped at the 8. Willie Thomas had the angle and got him.
That's the only reason why he caught up with him.
Well, I tell you, Joe Paterno's not used to having these kind of New Year's days. We told you he's 12-5-1 in bowls. Last year, of course, winning the national championship. He's been involved in the national championship game 4 times the last 9 years. But today, this may be a forgettable day for the personable coach.
I think there are 3 reasons why this offensive team is beaten up on Penn State this afternoon. 1, because he came out with a very tactical and accurate game plan. 2, because they didn't make the mistakes. And 3, because they have much more team speed than the Penn State defense.
And I think you could add a 4th. I think their depth has really started to take its toll of Penn State. They're just wearing them down right now. A 42-yard run, set it up, 1st and goal. That carry makes it to the 4. Ohan, the guy that Steve Alvarez has documented so well, is now coming to the game. He's number 2. There he is. 6'3", 240-pounder. What did Danny Ford say? He's going to really impact this team next year. They got all their fullbacks back, too. Pitch comes to McFadden. I checked that. Henderson makes it to the 4. It'll be 3rd and goal from there.
Ohan did a good job of running through the line of scrimmage. He didn't hit anybody that time.
It wouldn't have been cricket to do that, right?
It may not have been cricket.
3rd down.
3rd and goal from the 4.
But in football, you don't pass up a guy with the other color on his jersey.
That's one thing this Clemson team will do. Their wide receivers will block you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do that in Pittsburgh?
I did it in Pittsburgh. I had to.
How about a USC?
Franco Harris, absolutely.
All right.
Sam Cunningham, Rodney McNeil, Anthony Davis.
3rd down, 4. You made them what they were, I understand. There's a good effort by Henderson. He's in for the touchdown. The most points ever scored against Penn State in a bowl game. And they trailed 34-10. And the South is rising again. Point after by Treadwell. Boy, it seems like a long time ago he missed that field goal, which is really inconsequential as far as this game has been developing.
That's why it seems like such a long time ago, because it didn't become an important factor. But you see Joe Henderson going in for the touchdown, and they say that he could be a game breaker. He could be one of the top backs in Clemson history.
35-10. The Tigers, they've been impressive. 5 seconds left. Clemson with a 35-10 lead. That touchdown coming after the interception by Wolford. Here's a kickoff to Thompson, and he's going to bring it out. Pretty determined effort by this freshman. He's played very well today. Brings it out to the 19, and that's where Penn State will set it up.
Thompson gets back to the 19-yard line.
This is the worst loss ever for Penn State in a bowl game. The most points ever scored against them. And you look back, and they just could not recover from the loss of Blair Thomas, Ray Roundtree, and Pete Giftopoulos. But don't take anything away from Clemson. I thought you documented it very well why they were so successful today, Len.
I think this game is going to be a real big block for the foundation of this football team next year, and their attitude and their confidence as they approach 1988.
Tom Bill, number 12, is coming at quarterback, sophomore out of Flemington, New Jersey. There he is running around, giving chase to him, and he's going to be dropped at the 22. Picks up about 3 yards. Clock running with 7 seconds. They're going to let it wind down. And the Florida Citrus Bowl is history. At 39 years of age, he's had an amazing amount of success. The youngest coach ever to win a national championship, and he just continues to add to his resume. Boy, they played like their mascot, like Tigers. And so 1988 started in a big way for the Clemson Tigers. They defeat Penn State 35-10. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
For 3 very big and important touchdowns and a mainstay for that running attack.
Well, if you want to keep going, what about Wolford? He didn't play badly either.
Wolford had a great afternoon on defense, too.
Well, it was a complete win. I think the thing, though, that should go back is the fact Penn State got inside the 10-yard line and uncharacteristically turned the ball over twice.
If they had not turned the ball over and had scored touchdowns on those 2 plays at one point in the ball game, it would have been a 28-24 ball game. And Joe Paterno said what he likes to work his team in the position to do in the 4th period is just be in good shape to win the ball game.
Well, Danny Ford's with Steve Alvarez. Let's go down to the field to them.
Thank you, Gary. Danny Ford smells a little bit like Gatorade.
Well, it's a nice bath. I needed one. We've been working hard for 2 weeks now, and our youngsters we're in very fine condition. Our coaches had an excellent game plan. Our people executed very well. We hurt ourselves in the first half with penalties and mistakes, but other than that, we played real well. We're real proud of them.
You're a sly dog. Everybody expects you to come in here and run the football. You came right out of the chute firing the thing.
Well, we had a good week of throwing last week, and our guys have been catching football well, and we felt like that they were going to try real hard to stop the option. We felt like we throw play action off of it very well and throw off our sprint draw action, which we did. And our guys caught the ball extremely well, and we just about everything we did was working, and it was just one of those days that our coaches kept them off balance with formations a lot. 3 wides, 2 tights, slot formation, a lot of good things they did.
Penn State tried everything running the ball, and nothing really seemed to work. You guys up front really got it done.
They did. They hurt us a little bit on the down around block and then breaking it outside. We missed several tackles starting the second half, the first 5 minutes, but that was a great job by them. So we were very satisfied with it. Big win for Clemson.
Most ever points scored against Penn State in a bowl game. To beat Joe Paterno like this has to make you feel very proud.
Well, I'm proud of our young people. Of course, I'm proud of all our coaches, but I'm extremely proud of our young people. And the 9 seniors that we have on our football team, extremely proud of them too. They did a great job, worked very hard, so we're real proud of them.
You mentioned 9 seniors. You have a team that has a lot of kids coming back. This team could be a team to reckon with around the country the next couple of years.
Well, I don't want to get that started because we got a tough road ahead. We got to get back to the off-season, work very hard, get a lot quicker. We're not quick enough as a football team. We're a little bit overweight. Hurt us a couple of our ball games, but we're going to get there.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Appreciate the job y'all did. All right.
Danny Ford, let's go back up to Gary and Larry.
Everywhere, and it's going to be a fun game, I think, because it's two different philosophies. At least it was until they got together this spring and had a long visit. But nonetheless, I think, Bob Greasy, this is going to be one of the exciting ball games of the entire bowl season, and certainly a showcase for both, but especially Syracuse.
It's been a Cinderella season for Syracuse. They've had an outstanding year. One of the reasons they've had an outstanding year is that they've been healthy. Every offensive starter has started every game except two, and they only missed one game each. Defensively, they only missed one man, and that was Ted Gregory. The other thing that they've done so well